Okay, we're ready.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I will open this meeting of the March 17, 2025 DeKalb County Commissioners. Good morning, Dottie.
Good morning. Hey, the first thing on my agenda, which may be the only thing, depending on, because we've got to move along, is we had promised to talk about the travel policy. It was brought up during the last department heads meeting. I forwarded to you all of the information, the past ordinances, the current ordinance. Anyway, the big thing is about meal expenses are only allowed when an overnight stay is involved, when a meeting registration, and so and the reimbursement. Anyway, so I am bringing that up. We do have we have somebody out here who can speak from actual department experience of what happened, what has happened with them, with no reimbursement on something. And I don't know if Jim has anything to add from the department heads meeting, but I'll go ahead and leave it open. So, Michelle, I think you were the one that had something, so go ahead. Don't forget to push the button up there.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Hosbach. I am the Title 4D Administrator. I'm coming to you this morning to talk about possible changes, minor details that we could add to allow for lunch reimbursement. The Title 4D office will be attending our annual child support conference this year. This year, we are lucky enough to have it in Fort Wayne, Indiana, instead of down in French Lick. And let me tell you that I'm so glad we're going to be so much closer. Over the last few years, Title 4D has expended about anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 for travel reimbursement, meals, rooms, mileage. That's what we've been spending typically to head to conference. We don't spend a lot of money on travel and training anymore. We do have it budget in there. I'm just asking if we could possibly have a credit for some lunch. We will be at the Grand Wayne Center. They will not be serving meals to us 2 of the 3 days. So I'd just like that to be considered.
And I'm certainly not speaking for the members of that committee. Personally, from what I heard was that there was a very large consensus of the group that yes, there should be some kind of reimbursement if you go to something that's going to increase your knowledge and make you a better employee of the county, that you should at least be compensated for lunch. One of the stories was that the city of Auburn was at the same meeting that our county employees were at, and the city of Auburn does compensate their employees for lunch, and DeKalb County employees do not get compensated when it's close. I think the consensus, and I think I'm speaking for the group, but again, the consensus was that I think it's reasonable, and certainly since it's in their budgets already, it's not something they're asking for extra, that there be if it's $42, if you have an overnight stay for meals, that it be a $21, which is 1/2 of that, for a lunch meal to be covered, lunch or dinner, if it's an all day plus. So that would be my recommendation, coming from the department heads, is to this body, is it's already in the budget. It's not that they're asking for extra money, that we allow them to use the money that's in their budget at the rate of $21, which is 1/2 of what an overnight stay would be. And I think that's totally appropriate, and it's the least we can do for our county employees. Having said that, I would like to make a motion that we allow the department heads to pay the employees for any meeting that they attend that has to do with county business at the rate of $21 for their lunch.
Okay, additional discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you had something I wanted.
This has been covered many, many times, and we have been audited by the federal IRS audit for this, and was found to not be doing it correct. So in order to have a meal reimbursement, it has to qualify, and it has to meet the overnight rule. Otherwise, any meal that is reimbursed is going to be taxed to the employee because it is a fringe benefit according to federal IRS. So if you start allowing this, I can't give just $21. I would have to have the receipts. I have to verify they purchased what they were allowed to purchase, no alcohol, didn't go over whatever amount you want to do, and then turn around and get, not only pay it through accounts payable, turn around and tax it on their payroll file so it's taxed on their W-2, which is the reason why the prior commissioners decided against that and only did meals for overnight reimbursement, because you're not just giving them money for a day, you're also taxing them for it, and most employees didn't want to be taxed for that. So that's why they got rid of the day reimbursement.
So what happens with the $42 overnight?
That meets the overnight rule, and that is allowed to be per diem, and it's not taxable because it meets the overnight rule according to the IRS.
So if they're being taxed on the $21, obviously they would have to give a receipt. That's standard procedure. So if they're taxed on the $21, do you have an idea what that would, if you take 21 minus, what would their taxes be on that?
I don't know, I haven't put it through the payroll part for so long. The amount of money that you're actually going to be reimbursing an employee compared to the amount of money that you're going to be paying an employee or two actually to reimburse and tax is a lot more. You're paying the bookkeeping part of it a lot more than reimbursing an employee.
So how does, like, in this case, the city of Auburn or any city get away with, are they taxing them?
I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever. I just know that we were written up on it, and we were given this discrepancy report on how we could handle it and what we weren't supposed to do, and that is what I follow.
Alan, anything?
I would think we should wait. I would like to reach out to Auburn and see how they're doing, if there's a way around the taxing. I don't want to have to spend, I mean, they're going to get taxed on it, so I'm not really going to get the $21. They're going to be getting more like probably 15, 14 for it. And then we're
Well, they
paying.
can't get the 21, just period. It would have to be whatever they. Yeah,
Put in the thing, so.
yeah.
I'd like to reach out to Auburn and see how they're kind of doing that. If there's a way, if they figure out around to do just the stipend, like they do for the overnight versus doing the whole taxes and everything else that comes along with it.
The reason the previous commissioners went to the per diem was to simplify the system, streamline the system, so that the departments or those people that were traveling didn't have to keep track of these receipts. They didn't have the auditor didn't have to sort through this and do all the paperwork involved to make that calculation. So we went to the flat rate, and it just simplified everything, and I'm not in favor of going to any system that's going to put more work on the auditor or more complications on the system. So I wouldn't be in favor of it. I mean, they're going to eat home. If they're at home, I mean, they're responsible for those meals anyway, to some degree, maybe not as much, but I don't know, I'm just not I wouldn't be in favor of it.
May I also bring up that we earn funds for the county with our federal program because we are the Title 40 office? Would that be something we could use our funds for otherwise?
It would still have to be taxed. I mean, that would be up to that'd be up to you guys, and if that is a qualification of that money, I mean, I don't have that with me. That would be no different than any other fund that it was paid from.
I understand. I'm just throwing that on the table that we do have other ways that we could pay for a meal if it did not cause more issues for your department.
Right.
I'd like to reach out to Auburn and see if they have a way of going around that for the one-day thing.
Okay. So we don't have a second?
Well, I second it for a conversation.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I would want to table it if we can.
Yeah, I will rescind my motion.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out to Auburn.
I can
And then
do that.
see how they are kind of going around that. I don't want to complicate the situation and have to deal with receipts and all that stuff, but if they find a way to work around the IRS situation, then let's see how they do it, and then we can have another conversation about it.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we just have a couple more minutes before our next person needs to come in. So I wanted to give you a rundown on what's happening with our work comp claims. We currently, as of February the 28th, we had 3 of our cases close. 2 were from the sheriff's office, 1 was our maintenance department, and we have 7 currently open. 6 are with the sheriff's office, and 1 is with the highway department. And so most of them are fairly recent, just a few left from, a couple left from 2024. So that's not too bad. 1 that is still hanging on that is from 2020, unfortunately. So, but insurance trustees is very happy with our, our work comp. And, once again, just because it's with the sheriff's office, they have a higher, risk. So, got to do that. Other things, Morgan, why don't you talk a little bit about our recruiting and hiring?
I believe probation is still doing interviews for their probation officer opening. And I know the sheriff's department also had some interviews for their sheriff's deputy opening. We are waiting on some more information for the health department. They're looking for a school liaison community nurse. So they're talking to somebody. And then currently, we are recruiting for a full-time second and part-time third housekeeper at Sunny Meadows, and I'm helping her do pre-screenings for that. That's it right now.
All right. Thank you.
And we will, that is what we have for you guys right now. We will be back for our 11 o'clock with Apex, our insurance broker. So,
Okay.
yeah,
We'll see you
anything
then.
else? All righty, we'll see you
Thank you.
then.
Okay, Lita, you are up.
Real quick, before Lita starts, do I need anything further if Jim rescinded his motion? Do I need,
No, because if he rescinded it, then they're not technically tabling it, I think. I mean, is that far, well, I see what you're saying from a Robert's Rules of Order deal. Why don't,
so I
Why don't we
have a
just say-
motion and a
yeah.
second originally with no vote, and then I have a
I think you
Jim
can rescind your
rescinding.
motion. I think that would be okay.
Okay, got it.
They could have chosen to table it, keep it outgoing, but Jim withdrew it. He can always
Okay.
make it again in the future if they need to.
Got it, all right.
What you got, Lita?
Okay, 2 things. One,
Is your mic on?
yes.
Okay.
One, I sent over an updated DeKalb County, Indiana Recorder's Office Laredo User Access Subscription Agreement. This really hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed on it is paragraph 3 with the rates. We have noticed that Fiddler is going to be raising their rates effective May or June. Haven't got the quite confirmation. So we need to go ahead and send all our subscribers a new contract with a letter giving them notice that May 1, their rates will go up. So this is a contract I've always had the commissioners sign. The last one we did, I think, was in '23, was the last time I needed to update it. And that was to change that they need to have 30-day notice to terminate their agreement. So that's the only thing on this agreement that has changed is paragraph number 3, and it's the user fees. That's the only thing that's changed.
Only thing's changed.
Just for general knowledge, what does the Fiddler do for you?
Fiddler is our main program vendor. Laredo is one of the programs that we use a lot, and that's what searchers use that have a subscription to. They can be anywhere, and now we have Laredo Connect, which means they can connect to every county that they want to do searches in. So they don't have to come into the recorder's office anymore. They can do it from their home or their office, wherever they're at, if they have a subscription. Some of our other offices in the county use it. They don't pay because they are part of the county. So we get money for the subscription. We also get money on the pages they print. So
Fiddler is just like.
Fiddler is our main one. That's where we get Avid through. That's where we get most of our programming through to do recording. The assessor uses it, as well as auditor transfer uses it, and surveyor uses it some.
I'm just curious what it was.
Yep. Fiddler is our main, Right.
There's a paragraph in there that says, and I don't have it up, but it says something about the accuracy is not warranted by this company.
The what?
The accuracy is not warranted.
No, they cannot warrant, it's what we put in. We don't, because we have to record what is presented, so I can't guarantee everything in that document is accurate.
Okay.
My job is to record it and put it of record. It's the preparer that needs to make sure. Now, as far as the legal description and the parties involved, that goes through the auditor's transfer office and GIS to make sure that those names match and like that. But as far as accuracy, the recorder's office cannot and will not say that every document is 100% accurate.
They're just recording what
We
they're
are
getting.
just-
They're getting. It's up to the transfer and other people to make sure the paperwork's correct, yeah.
We're just the
And
recorder.
then the company's just saying the same thing, like, if there's an issue with that, you don't come after us. Right, Andrew, is basically what it sounds like?
They're just our avenue to get those recorded.
Yeah, they're just reporting what you put on there.
Yeah, we're not guaranteeing any of the accuracy, is that?
Correct.
Yeah. I didn't see any problem, when I reviewed the contract, I didn't see any problem with it. I did have a question about paragraph 12. It says that the licensee, so licensee as they define it,
This was an issue way back. The prior recorder had an issue with a company called Black Knight, and they were taking in and scraping. And so there was a big lawsuit over it, county was involved.
okay.
So, yeah, if we catch it, yeah.
So basically, any data scraping may be viewed as theft, but we're not doing any data scraping, obviously, because we
We're not,
own the
no.
data, but other
Right.
people might try
Right.
to do illegal data scraping. Okay.
Right. We try to do everything we can to stop, and Fiddler's big up on that, their programs, that's why we keep updating but they haven't had a price increase in quite a while, way before my time, so it's due. I expected it coming sometime.
You want to explain what data scraping is to anybody that's watching?
It would be taking this data and then selling it. They're scraping it off without paying for it.
Okay.
And doing whatever they want with it. They could be selling it. We're getting, not that it's somewhat of a scam thing. People are getting notices saying that there's a tax lien against them. I got one, several people have got one. And so they're going in and just getting enough information, but if they really wanted to scrape the information, they'd get a whole lot more. But what they are using is what is public record, what they can find. But they're not, they're kind of using it for a different purpose, but this is taking the images, taking all these images and then presenting them, yeah.
Yep, I understood. I just wanted,
Yeah.
anybody that's listening that understands what
Yeah.
you're talking about when you say data stripping.
So we
I'm fine
always,
with the contract.
so I always have one of the commissioners sign it. I'm not always going to be in office. So if something would happen 6 years down the road and I'm already gone, then the commissioners, you know, it's going to, they're going to have to help litigate and use the county attorney to litigate something, so.
Okay,
The commissioners should be the ones entering all the agreements
yeah.
for the entire county.
Should be.
Right.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
A motion second on the floor. Any additional comments?
We have one set up.
There's either
Got
one.
one? Okay.
I brought one just in case.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose. Motion is approved.
Okay. It's just, I only need one of them, Kellen. So Bill usually signs it
Oh, just Bill needs.
as the president, yeah.
About one of the books.
And I brought one of the books. I can only bring one at a time because they're that heavy. This is one of the books that just came back. We sent 35 of them out on Fair Week, and we just got them back last week. These are now fireproof and waterproof. So this is something that didn't cost us extras to do, but it comes in a case. And then they took all the pages and they take tape off, they take lamination off, all that, and they treat the paper, and then they put it in special Mylar. So we're getting 2 books back for everyone we send. So I got 71 books back that I sent out, only 35. They took the next 28 with them. They go to Texas. And so I just wanted to show you what we're getting back. These are heavy. They're bound on the end, and they're also bound on this side. So they can be set on they can be set up like this, or they can be set up upright. So it's going to, it's going to take up probably a little less room, even though I'm getting more books back, because of the way we can put them. They don't have to lay flat anymore. So, yeah, those are our books. We're pretty proud of them, so.
I went down last week and looked down. They're pretty cool. They're really nice.
Bill, we had a courthouse fire years and years ago, and it took part of the first part of our records. So we've started with deeds. I feel deeds are probably the most important documents we have. That lets everybody know you own certain property, and that's probably the most important. So I don't know how many will get done in my time, but at least we have the project started.
Okay,
Just wanted you to see them. And if you want to see how heavy this thing is, be my guest. I'd say if I had to guess, they're probably weighing at least 40 pounds.
is that right? A piece? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You can have somebody carry it back down. They're heavy. They are a beast. Yeah, they're a beast.
No, we actually have good enough shape.
Wow, yeah, that's,
I go say, let's go take some weight.
wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Come on, Bill, let's see your muscles, Bill. The recorder's office will be rough time we get done with this.
No kidding. I know, right? Look at him. It's like, I'll show you all up.
That's a chunk.
Tonight, he's like, they're not light.
Look sharp, too. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Lita. Have a good day. Michelle, you might as well just not sit down, just come right on up.
Andrew, you want to get the door?
What you got today, Michelle?
Well, I am coming up to talk a little bit about the budget and the grant application for our adult programs for 2026. They are due April 11th, and so we've been working on them. And we have a couple, I sent a summary as well as both of the budgets, one in which we are asking for additional funding for the grant from the DOC in the hopes that we can get some additional funding. As my understanding is, as the budget for the state stands now, it does not have any additional funding for community corrections programs. Other areas of the DOC are getting additional funding, but not, apologize, not the community corrections portion of their budget. So that means they're going to have the same amount of money to hand out, same amount of programs asking for money. I'm assuming others are going to be asking for additional in the same vein that we are. So in years past, when that has happened, the only way that additional funding has been granted is if there's a program that decides they don't want to function anymore, for some reason asks for less funding or something, so they have some money to kind of transfer around. But we're going to make the request and see if it happens, because if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So then what we always like to create then is our second budget, our Plan B. We don't get any additional funding, what the plan is for funding us in 2026. So that would be the one that's, I think we titled it static grant funding, so the same amount of grant funding, how we would do it. As you can see in the summary, what we've been able to do is find some cost savings. We have an employee that's really taken a lot of time to go over our menu and our food ordering to find cheaper alternatives, different meals that they can make, different ways to save us some money there, as well as some new ideas. So recently asked to order some roasting pans because that gives her some more options for food heating. We can get more like raw products and not so many pre-processed, pre-cooked things, which cost a little bit more. And then the other one that you'll see cost savings in utilities from when I first came to community corrections, I think our maintenance department and the fact that we have Rick working with us now really allows us to be a little more judicious, right? Not using those recirculating pumps anymore that we don't need, replacing some of the piping, not having as many leaks, different things like that. So all of those things. And so we're able to take that money that we've saved on those certain items and kind of move it towards staff increases for 2026.
Okay. Questions, comments?
So we have a letter of support for you all to sign. So we'll want a motion that you will approve to sign this and for Michelle to submit her grant.
Also make the motion.
A motion and second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion is approved.
And then she also provided the 2024 annual report, the disciplinary hearing report, and the grievance report. So if you guys would just do a motion acknowledging receipt of those reports.
So move we accept the report as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
The only other attachment I had on the email was a copy of the probation budget for the mental health officer. That her application has to go in at the same time as the community corrections application does. All goes to the state JRAC. And so I could try to answer any questions you might have about that, but that budget just reflects her continued salary and her other needs for her to run her mental health program that she runs. And that's covered in the letter as well. She'll use that same letter when she submits her grant, showing that it's been presented to you all.
So generally, in years past, you guys kind of just sweep that all together as it's just part of their grant that goes in because it's a piece of it and it all follows all of their guidelines.
Who do you use for pest control out there?
Arrow?
Do you have any issues with them?
No, they come out monthly and do kind of maintenance, walk around and ask if we've had any issues. And then also we've had a few times where we have had specific concerns and we've called them and they will come out and do an additional, and it's all part of our yearly contract.
Yeah, her and Michael both have to sign. So she'll take it and then she'll just send me a copy of it when they have it all signed.
That's all I had, unless you guys have questions about any of the annual reports.
No, I don't believe so. I don't.
I don't.
All right,
We're good.
Yeah, thank you for the
Thank you.
information. Appreciate it.
Good luck with that budget and all that stuff. It's too bad they're not increasing those funds. I was kind of afraid of that when we went into this. Yeah, that's all we can do. Okay. Let's go in and jump into payroll, pay the folks for their hard work.
So move we accept payroll as presented.
I'll second.
Motion second to approve payroll. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
I did a little bit of quick research in the Robert's Rules of Order, basically, modern rules of procedure. And to clarify the motion to withdraw you had, the chair can grant that without a vote, unless somebody objects and says, let's vote on the motion to withdraw. So you basically have a right to withdraw it if everybody agrees. So since everybody agreed, we're good to go. But I just wanted to check it out.
Yeah, okay.
Technically
Thanks.
speaking.
Thanks, Andrew. Okay, claims.
I'll make a motion to
Oh.
accept claims.
Okay. I knew that he had some questions. That's the only reason I said that.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Okay, motion second on the floor. Comments?
Yes, I had two questions. Under Commissioner, and this would be telecommunications, and the number is 33240, AT&T, the $770. That for, what is it for?
Let me look here.
Where's this at?
My notes just say it's the monthly bill period for those services. I can ask IT. I don't know if it has something to do with our phones or, I don't know. I'll ask.
City of Auburn, under the same thing, is $1,255.54 under communication.
Yeah, that's AES. Part of that is paid with commissioners, part of it is paid with IT. So like that total bill was $5,938.15, but that's the AES services that we pay for.
Part of it.
Yeah, the commissioners, I don't know why, because it all comes from county general, but they've always just put in extra to help with the telecommunications in case the increases have went up, and then IT does as much as they can of it. So I will find out about the other.
I got a question also. 000982 Hub Group Liability Insurance, $28,541.
The HILB, that is I think cyber. We just renewed the cybersecurity for the extension to
Okay.
get it through. That's the
That wasn't
invoice for
included
that.
under our,
You say 982, or you mean 983? 000983? The Hill Group of Indiana LLC.
I didn't see.
In here.
What was the number again, Bill?
982, 000982.
I think it,
Yeah, it's the cybersecurity
It's a cyber.
renewal policy.
the $28,541.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Minutes. Motion to approve minutes.
Move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion second to approve minutes. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion is approved. Miscellaneous topics. DART, notification or deobligation of federal and state funds, 2023/2024. What do we got there, Susan?
Yes, this is, they finally have received their vehicle from prior year grants. So now they just say, or they just have you guys sign this paper so that they know for 2024 that they had $52,830 unused of the grant part that they didn't need. And so we just have to agree that we're not using that and that it's not coming to us, because it doesn't come to us until they ask for it, but we're not going to request it, is what that means.
Also make a motion.
Second.
The motion is second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved.
Just Bill just signs this?
Yeah. Okay, IT just responded, and for AT&T, they said that we use those for county cell phones, so those departments that have them, and the MiFis, like the little hotspots that are travel around with departments, laptops, things like that.
It's not just a commissioner's.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I gotta resign.
Thank you for that clarification.
This has to be blue. I'll reprint this because we have to do this in blue, so I'll get you a different copy of that.
Okay. Blue Heron Ministries proposal for professional services. What do we got there?
That was last week when I wasn't here. That was you guys and Nellie, and I believe Andrew had already gotten clarification with whatever you guys were needing. I honestly don't know what you needed, but he got clarification for that, and so now you guys can decide whether you're going to approve that contract.
They're adding the county on as an additionally named insured under the Blue Heron policies for just a charge of $100. And so I approve it at that point. I think we got some help and guidance on it from Kyle Pearson with help.
Okay.
So,
So we're
yep,
good.
we're good to go on there because we'll be an additionally named insured on their policies. So,
Motion?
So move we accept it.
I'll second.
The motion is second on the floor. Additional comments?
It's just
All
for,
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I will sign.
I already saw that.
Okay, let's move on to Kyle Pearson. I'm sorry. You are a person. Come on up, Kyle.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Thanks for making a little bit of time for us. Answer any questions you have. I don't think we'll take a ton of your time, but wanted to provide an update on Sunny Meadows. I know there's been conversation there and some committees talking about Sunny Meadows, and wanted to share an update, at least from our end on the insurance side. Late last, I think it was either Thursday or Friday, we received the renewal terms for the county home from the insurance carriers, which would be Hamilton and Miller. They handle the professional liability and the abuse and molestation coverages. Favorable renewal terms, everything looks good. So that was a good thing for us to get that, especially this early, and get that confirmation. We also have it out to 28 other insurance carriers that we've quoted out to, just to see if there's other better options out there as well. So we know we have a option, a good option, but we're not gonna just sit on that. We're gonna see if we have multiple other options which could be used for the future as well. So I know when we spoke a few weeks ago, we were uncertain, I guess the best way to put it, where that was gonna go. And so that's, essentially the update of what we have now.
Yeah, he let me know about, on, I think it was Thursday
Maybe
night
Thursday.
or Friday or something, he talked to me. He wanted to come in and steal my thunder today and take the credit for it, so, but it's fine. But no, so that's one West issue we have to deal with so far right now with the Sunny Meadows, is that I told him to keep digging, to keep looking into it, to see if we can get a better price on it, but at least we have something going forward. So.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all the hard work that you've been doing for us on that end of
Absolutely.
it, so.
That's what we're here for.
Do you have an idea of the cost?
Yeah, the cost will be, is favorable. It is essentially a flat renewal from last year. So,
year?
yeah, so that was just over $30,000 for all those coverages for the county home.
I'm surprised.
Surprised it was flat? Yeah, I think we did find a carrier that fits that niche well with that smaller size. And when we spoke with them, 60 days ago, they were optimistic about the renewal, but it was just so early in the process, they couldn't give us anything definitive. So it does seem like we found a good carrier partner that isn't a flash in the pan for us, which is positive.
Okay, any questions, comments?
They're going to cover everything out there, because I think you said the molestation they were still working on, but they're covering that?
So Hamilton's on the professional liability, general liability portion. We also got it's called Miller Insurance, and they are on the abuse molestation. I think we spoke Thursday, Friday morning, they sent us over that quote.
Okay,
as
yeah,
well.
because that was the one that you said that we hadn't had the molestation one yet, so
Yeah.
when we talked, okay.
Yeah. So we feel like we're in a good spot, but we'll keep working on it, and we'll hopefully have other options, but TBD on, what those look like, and we'll obviously come back in once we have more information on it.
Okay. All righty.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Appreciate your hard work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for working hard for us, Kyle.
Yep. Okay, sounds great.
And it's a nice thing about it, gives us more time to
Yeah.
sort this thing out.
Last year, we felt the crunch with the timing of the Liberty Mutual, removing that coverage, and it made everybody's hair on fire a little bit, so we definitely wanted to get out ahead of it, so we weren't feeling that this year as well.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay, moving on to miscellaneous topics, travel policy discussion. I guess we kind of went through that, didn't we? The cemetery tax sale parcel update.
So we really don't have anything. I had put that on there just in case. Oops, let me turn that on. We really don't have anything. I put that on there just in case, but we are in the process of Andrew getting a hold of the buyer, and we really have nothing to discuss until we know what the buyer will say. SRI did get back with me, and basically, if the buyer is willing to What we're hoping is, we're hoping the buyer would be willing to reassign the certificate to the county, and then we would pay him what he bought for and his 10% per annum, like it was kind of like a redemption, but not really. And if he will do that, then the certificate would be reassigned to commissioners, and then you guys could reassign the certificate again to the township, and then the township would do all the noticing and whatnot and take it from there. But until we know what the buyer's going to say, we don't really know. But they
You know who
did
the buyer is
say.
now? We still don't know.
No,
Okay.
we know who it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I've got a note to call him this week and try to
okay.
getting.
Last time we didn't know who it was, so I didn't know.
We've always known who it was, but
Oh, okay.
It's probably just better not to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna ask, but I was just curious. I thought, okay.
And I did get an email from Mary Deal that pretty much clarified that. You didn't get it, I don't believe. I can forward to it if you want it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll keep anything with it. So that's all we had on that, because we just kind of wait. And also I wanted Jim to let Bob know so that we didn't really waste his time coming in today, because we can't do anything concrete yet.
That's why.
Thank you.
I didn't realize you weren't on the email,
That's okay.
so I didn't, it just come in this morning.
Yeah.
From Mary. Okay.
I do have a few more
Yep.
things I didn't get put on there.
Go for it.
So in the mail folder, every year we get a little letter from a elementary student doing research and whatnot. And so I always have a little letter on your guys' letterhead that I put together for you all to sign. And then I send them the historical guide that we have, and like what it means to be a commissioner. The little pamphlet on there when you need it, county government explains a little bit. This year I'm gonna throw in the little comprehensive plan thing. So I send them this with your signed letter, and then they do their little project.
We need to make a motion on that, or just,
You generally do, just agreeing to sign that letter.
I'll make the motion.
Give me a
I just
second
didn't know
on,
if we needed one or not.
on the floor. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
I don't really think that you do, however, if they would be looking, it would make the elementary student happy to see.
Miss Murphy's class, Grayson.
Yep,
All right.
yeah,
Nice to see that.
I know. And it's not like a local, like a DeKalb County school, it's,
Kind of cool.
Maxwell,
It is.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Thanks for Susan putting that letter together.
you're welcome. Okay, so then, let me see what else I have in here. Oh, just real quick, and this is nothing to act on today, but did you guys see the email from Chris Galmer on the Regional 3A, this thing? Northeast Indiana Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy?
I did see that, yes.
Okay, so I just to make sure you guys saw it, because it was asking to review it and provide feedback. Okay, so I did have Judge Grimm come and tell me about the reimbursement from the prisoners for cost of incarceration. So he didn't want to talk, he just wanted me to bring it to your knowledge. And for the public, what it is if the commissioners pass an ordinance wanting to do this, then we could charge the inmate the lesser of either the per day rate or $30. So for us, it would be $30 because we charge more than 30 per day. So it'd be $30. And then once they're out, then they would have to reimburse us for that care that we provided them. So there's multiple ways that it could happen. And Like he said that it would be able to have like a wage garnishment done, because not everybody that happens to have a stay doesn't work. They generally go back to work, and not everybody that stays doesn't have resources or money or whatnot. So there is also something called a voluntary wage assignment. That would be another option that, if I understood it correctly from Judge Grimm, that they could agree to X amount of dollars that would automatically come. I don't know, it's different than the wage garnishment, but I don't know, kind of works the same in my mind anyways. However, that is the gist of what I know about it, just from reading the code real quick so I could get you guys the information. As far as ordinance-wise, I haven't had time to send an email out yet to my other auditors, so I'm going to do that today. Otherwise, I would suggest, if you're interested, seeing if Attorney Cruz can't do a little bit more research, figure out exactly what we need to do here. But I just want to bring it to your attention to first see if you guys are even interested in trying it. It could be a chunk of money. You know, because like, you know, somebody's in there 30 days, that could be, or 180 days, that could be $5,400. So,
Thoughts?
and it all can go, I'm sorry, you're right, it all can go towards the new jail, is what it can be used for.
Thoughts, comments?
Off the top of my head,
Andrew, what's the possibility of getting blood out of a tournament?
Sure. So there's going to be a group of people that are not going to have to pay back because of the limitations of their income. I saw, I believe, 150% of the federal poverty line or something like that
Yeah, I
was in
think
the
so.
language. So there's some protection for people that are on, let's say, disability or SSI for being disabled and indigent. I mean, I think that's helpful. I don't know from the standpoint of, I mean, I do like the idea of holding people accountable and having them, you know, pay for their stay. From that standpoint, you can also look at it from how many people, when they get out of jail, are already going to be underwater financially. So is this going to add an additional burden? How does that affect them going forward? I don't know. But legally, I think you can do it. I looked at the statute.
I guess my question is why, if we, it's been a good idea, why haven't we done it before? What was kind of the rub is, and I think you
And I don't
explained
know.
it
I
to,
have no idea why it hasn't been done
How many other counties do this? Or is this something that's fairly?
I don't know yet.
Maybe that'd be a good idea to find out. Have other counties thought this was a good thing, and how did it affect their prisoners coming out on probation and owing the money?
I wasn't aware of it. He said he did bring it to the knowledge of prior commissioners. I don't know if that was just prior, how long it was ago. If I was part of it, I totally forgot all about it.
I don't recall it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how long it's been, but because of the discussion of the new jail and stuff, he just wanted to make sure that the three of you currently know that it is an option.
Comments from the public? Something maybe we should explore, and we may not know how it's going to work until we try it. That's the thing with something like that.
I know that when he came, and I should have, Jody might know the name of this, but when Judge Grimm first came, they implemented some kind of collection by order or something.
I don't know the name of it either, but when I was in the clerk's office, there was an order that they created where if somebody has bonded out or if they have paid X, Y, and Z when they were arrested, then prior to getting those funds back when they're released, there was an order created that certain statutes say they have to pay for a portion of whatever they owe our county, their court costs and fines, et cetera, prior to getting that entire bond payment back.
Yeah, the cash bond something is what he called audit. But anyways, he said that there was quite a bit of money that they've been able to.
There was, and the clerk has done, the clerk's done amazing with that, and it was just a matter of implementing that as well. But he brought that to the attention of Holly Albright at that time, and then they implemented it together, or
And
integrated
that makes
it.
a lot of sense to me. This is money that someone may have paid to get out on bond. And then if at the end of their case, they owe fines and cost, why should we be paying them their money back? And then they owe us.
I can say that the amount of outstanding court costs and fines is what brought that up to Judge Grimm at the time, and he really delved into why there were so many and why we were releasing that entire like $1,000 cash bond, $500 cash bond back, instead of making them pay what they owe us, so there's not so many collections.
And I think that,
Outstanding dues.
I haven't heard very much necessarily about it, but I think it's worked, hasn't it? I
I
mean,
think so.
Yeah, he said there was quite a bit of revenue from that piece of it being implemented. Not that that has anything to do with the jail or whatnot, but it was something that he had brought to the county's attention that we hadn't been doing, that we started.
We'd have to draft an ordinance, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to reach
So
out?
I was gonna say, I can reach out to my other counties and see if anybody does it, and then they're always very good about sharing their ordinances so that we don't have to recreate something that may,
You could get me that,
Yeah.
we can start from
Get
it.
some samples,
Yep.
okay,
and we'll go
all
from
right,
there.
we
What
will
do you
go
think?
from there.
Sound good?
Sounds good, yeah, I want to talk to Michelle, because I think Cruz brought up a good point of, if we drown them when they get back out, they're just going to go right back into crime, they're going to be back in that circle of crime if they come out and they're like, I can't afford anything, I'll go back to doing whatever I was doing before, I put them in there in a situation before, so.
It'd be good to find out how bad that is, yeah.
Yeah, but I like the idea that if they're bonding and get the money from the bond, I mean, obviously someone's got something there, so. Something to look into. I'd like to talk to Michelle too and see what her
Never
thoughts
know,
on it are.
never know. What else you got, Susan?
Okay, so let's see. Okay, last week, the private pond construction thing, that was tabled, and we're still waiting on that, right? We're still not done with that, okay. And then Jody had reached out to me because I believe Kellen, was it Kellen, had asked about award plaques.
Everybody's stealing all my thunder today. Jeez.
Okay, I won't talk about it if you want to talk about it. I just was wondering if you had a price-wise
Yeah,
that I
I
could
have I'll talk at the end
verify?
of it,
Okay,
so.
oh, this is yours. I had printed out the septic problem.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the agenda. Jason Meyer. Get him up here, he's on board.
Okay, this is. How's everyone doing today? Good, how are you?
Good, okay. Figure that out, so.
Yeah.
good. So I think everyone has the handouts that.
Yep.
Hey,
we all
Mel,
got
thank
them.
you.
Electronic.
Auditor Sleeper for sending those around. So I had a few things. First of all, I want to thank you all for your support for our programs and services here in DeKalb County. I just wanted to, first of all, say that those funds are currently being utilized. I think Crystal probably has presented to you in the past. I am our Director of Business Partnerships. My name's Jason Meyer. I've been with Easter Seals since 21. So I was the CEO at Passages in Columbia City before we merged with Easter Seals in 21. So I worked a lot with the Whitley County government and things over there. So wanted to at least review, I know you had all of this to read ahead of time, but the main thing I wanted to take a few minutes on, we recently rebranded in January. And so I talked about when I joined the network in 21, we had Passages in Columbia City, Rise up in here in DeKalb County and in Steuben County, and then we had Easter Seals Arc in Northeast Indiana. So we had three different logos kind of going all together. So we decided to make it all Easter Seals, Northeast Indiana. It's cleaner. It kind of encompasses all the counties that we serve, and that's the reason we moved forward there. And I listed all the reasons there that we have. Happy to answer any questions on that. But same programs and services, it's just that rebrand makes it a lot cleaner. So that was one document I had included in there prior to my update. And then this is a fundraiser that we do annually. It's Dancing with the Arc Stars. It's in Grand Wayne Center. in downtown Fort Wayne. It raises a good, significant amount of funds each year. Our goal this year is close to $500,000. Our goal is to raise for the organization. So I know that when we've talked to you in the past, we're primarily state and federal Medicaid funding is where a lot of our programs and services come from. So all the adults and youth that we serve with intellectual and developmental disabilities, so individuals with Down syndrome, autism, a lot of our participants are dual diagnosis, so there's some mental disability there too. So we work with like Northeastern Center, Bowen Center for a lot of that assistance there. But our programs are state and federal Medicaid dollars, so every dollar we get from the state usually has $2 from federal. So if we see a $40 million increase from the state in all of our programs and services, not us clearly, but providers around the state, that is matched by $2 federally, so that turns into $80 million. So as you hear funding cuts and different things like that at the national level, there's an $880 billion potential funding cut to Medicaid that could potentially impact our programs and services. So that's kind of a preface of all of that. Altogether, as a network, we have about 1,100 employees. We're a nonprofit, so when we were RISE only specifically, that was about 40 employees. Passages was about 120. So that kind of shows you, for us, and for a lot of the reasons why we merged. When we merged, we were paying about $8.50 an hour for our direct support staff. Now we can pay $17.18 per hour. So it's just a larger network. It has a lot more capability for our programs. We're one of 3 Easter Seals in the state, and there's 70 nationally. So that kind of gives you an idea. In my request and what I listed there, we have a lot of the different programs that I gave you an update on. Again, we already received our funds for this year, so I wanted to appreciate that. But I kind of wanted to highlight a little bit of the stuff we're doing. Pre-manufacturing is a big need right now, and that's for both with people with and without disabilities. So that pre-manufacturing academy with Trine is super cool because we can really utilize their programs and services, train people on what it takes to be a manufacturer or work in the manufacturing industry, and customize that training anywhere from 4 weeks to 10 weeks. So that's a program that we do. We also have a CNA program, a Certified Nursing Assistant program, where we can train up to 10 CNAs to partner. So we listed BETS on there. We have a contract with American Senior Communities that we can train CNAs up to 10 people, 2 weeks book class, and then we do the clinicals at their place. So that's another opportunity. That's called our healthcare learning lab. And then we have a hospitality learning lab. So if you look at some of those employees on there, Texas Roadhouse, Culver's, they're more focused on the food service industry. And what we really do with that hospitality lab is really say, is that something you really want to do, or do you just like eating in restaurants? So we have an area that specifically showcases what it's like to work in the front of the house and the back of the house, a smaller dish tank than like the Texas Roadhouse, but it still gives our participants like a realistic job preview. So we listed some of the schools on there. We have what we call a pre-employment transition services program. So that works with youth in the schools anywhere ages 13 to 22 on what life will be after school. So that's a big thing too. All individuals that are in that program have an IEP. So we work with the students and their parents or guardians on what future looks like. And I use autism as that because there's such a wide range of autism. It can be people that need help with day-to-day skills like breakfast, toileting, brushing your teeth, getting ready for the day, but there could be people studying for their master's degrees, PhDs, and things of that nature. So DeKalb County specifically, we work a lot with volunteer and employment programs, and what we do is we have a location in Fort Wayne that really pulls to the Auburn, DeKalb, Auburn and Garrett areas, and then our Angola location really pulls to the Butler area and things to that nature. DeKalb County Council on Aging and the Hymick Center, as well as the JAM Center, are our 2 main volunteer sites, and our employment specialists have a large caseload of potential employees, primarily referred to as either with intellectual developmental disabilities or some form of disability. So that's just a little bit of an overview there. I did want to pass out to you guys, this is a newer program that we've done. They're all the same picture if you want to pass them around, but it's our ES gaming program, and that's our newer program. Our 40 and under crowd is really into e-gaming and e-sports. So on top of community employment, that's a big focus area for them. So that's us right there with the Trine Group. So we compete against the Trine esports team up in Angola, and that's been a huge partnership, especially as they've redone their lecture hall as well. So with that, that was kind of an overview and an update. We appreciate the funds we received last year and for this year for the $34,000. The request I have is for the $45,000 for the upcoming year. I know we're early, but I wanted to get it to you ahead of time, and I know you just literally gave us the other request, but I wanted to at least so you had it and answer any questions you have. I had a longer presentation, but I heard all your other meetings for the last hour, so I know that you have a lot to cover, so just wanted to.
It's actually good timing that you came to present, because we start next year's budgets like in a month.
That's what I thought.
So, yeah, we start really early.
And we're calendar year, but, so I used to be July 1st in my fiscal year, and so that's what I was thinking. So, but happy to answer any questions. I just dug very topical or very high level on the federal and state funding, but I'm happy to go into more of that. I just thought for context, that would be good for all of you to kind of know how we're funded. So that state and federal's about 80 to 90% of our full budget, just depending on the year. So how we compensate for that are grants, fundraising, requests to the counties and cities that we provide services in and things to that nature. So just wanted to give that background too.
Questions?
I talk quick just because I have coffee. I'm sorry.
Questions, comments?
I like the e-gaming things, because I noticed when I looked at colleges with my daughter, that some of them, especially St. Francis, has they actually have an e-gaming type room set up. So that might be something that helps them have some more self-confidence and self-esteem if they're involved in that too.
In the trailer, so we have a trailer now too. So we were the first of the Easter Seals. I remember when I went to the conference with my CEO 2 years ago, she's like, this is a great program, we're gonna do it. And that's just how she is. She's just so energetic. And the trailer has been a really nice addition that we just received a grant for and have started doing it last year too. But it's growing. That's a major at Trine now. So it used to just be.
Scholarships out to it.
They do.
Oh, for that, for the e-game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big thing now.
And if you haven't been to that lecture hall, it's very nice. That lecture hall is very nice that they've redone up there, and it's good.
Any other questions, comments?
I do not.
Are you asking 45 next year?
Yes.
When does that need to be approved?
You will do that when you do your budget requests.
Budget, yeah, I was thinking probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we go through all that, then you guys will decide what you are putting where.
All right,
Thank you.
well, thank
Appreciate
you, Jason.
Yes, thank you. And my contact information's there if you have any other questions. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we got some more time.
Jason,
What else
Do you
you
mind
got?
hanging around during the break? I have a few more questions about some of those things. Thanks. We lost Susan.
Anything?
Yes, I can go over a few things. We can go over the plaques. So I was talking to Dottie, and I was out at dispatch talking to Brian, and I looked over and I saw he had a nice plaque for his 30-year anniversary. Years of service, I shouldn't say anniversary, years of service. So I started talking to Dottie and Morgan about, we give those certificate out every 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I think it'd be, I would like to make a motion or at least look into giving them a plaque. I think people would be more apt to hang up their plaque, more apt to show off the plaque, be proud of a plaque versus a certificate that ends up being wherever. Most people aren't going to frame it and put it up there. So I looked into the certificates themselves cost about $3 a piece once it's all said and done from the numbers that Morgan sent me. That's the holder, the special paper that we put it on, and then I added on about 40 cents of ink. I don't really know how much ink's going to cost to do it all. So I rounded up about $3. You can get a plaque for about $20. online, and if you buy it in bulk, which I'm not really sure, the guy hasn't emailed me back, and when I buy in bulk, is it still gonna be separate for each, the typing being separate, or do we just buy the plaques themselves and the engraving's different? So he hasn't got back to me on that, and that's about $20. I mean, so for an extra $15, we can make something that really nice that people will be more proud of, to show off, which this year she sent me the numbers of how many there would be. And I don't want to do the 3-year, I think the 3-year certificates suffice, but I think the 5, 10, the 15, the big ones. And this year alone, there would be 31 employees that have a 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, I think there was a 31. And that would be a total of like just another $620 a year, that I think the employees would be more apt to show it off, be proud of it, and I think it would show our appreciation to them for, working for that many years. Especially nowadays when people change jobs on a regular basis, and, I'd like to show appreciation to them and not just a certification that we printed off. I know they do a good job, Morgan does a good job with it, but I think having a plaque, people will be more apt to hang it up in their offices, at home, and other places like that. So.
Jim, comments?
Need to think on it.
I think I'd be more in favor if we did the certificate at the 5, 15, 25, to the plaque at the 10, 20, and 30. Would be
So every decade, 10, 20, 30?
10, 20, 30. Certificate in between at the 5-year increments.
With the 3-year being the first one?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'd be more in favor of that than every 5 years of the plaque. Sometimes you get too many plaques and you end up in the box in the attic.
And that's true too. I mean, I'll look into that. Like I said, I'm still digging into it.
Yeah.
Seeing if we can get a better discount. That was just one vendor. I know there's a couple other vendors that we could look into, but I didn't want to bring too much until we had an idea if you guys were even on board with doing something like that.
Yeah, I think I can.
I'm not opposed to it. Just for clarification, you said 10, 20, and 30?
Yes. And 40 if they go that long.
Every decade, pretty much get a.
Yeah, every decade, sure.
I think at 40, we ought to give them a plaque.
I mean, we do give them a money, what is it called?
Longevity.
Longevity pay, thank you.
Yeah.
So.
That's everything in that equation.
Yeah.
Anything else on that? Okay.
I'll bring some more information about the plaques then.
Anybody with anything else? I've got something. Septic tank or septic discharge. Michael Gerard septic in a rental house on County Road 55 and 60. The runoff goes on to Jerry and Kim Landis. The gray water out of his septic tank or wastewater out of his septic tank has been an issue for 2 years and has not been resolved. Bernie is asking for some assistance, something to help get this. The guy is just stalling. This Mr. Gerard, G-I-R-O-D. Andrew.
I'm certainly willing to do a letter.
Bernie coming in?
I'm certainly willing to do a letter if that's what you gentlemen would like me to do. I believe that the situation is, and this came up once with something with the health department and in the city of Auburn with a home that had some sewer pipe that was not hooked up properly. The health department has their own attorney for their board meetings, but for legal enforcement actions, it's the county attorney that does the legal enforcement, I think. So that's why they had gotten me involved before on that house issue in the city of Auburn. So, I mean, if you'd like me to do a letter, I'd probably communicate with Bernie and try to get the statutes or ordinances involved figured out and then do a letter, a demand letter to them. And then certainly at some point, we might have to look into litigation as an option, asking for a court order that he.
I was wondering.
Yeah, either stop using the home or get a workable septic system that doesn't drain into your neighbor's property, which is a health hazard, I would think.
I understand the letter, right, the gentleman is Amish, and he doesn't think he needs to do a septic system, but it's a rental house that he's renting, and.
So for a
has an
rental house,
income.
I don't think that, I mean, and I'm not sure that the Amish are exempt from having working septic systems that dump onto other people's properties, if that's the case. They're exempt from certain legal requirements when they build their own homes themselves.
Yeah,
But this is different, and this is a septic
yeah, this is
health issue, a public health issue.
This is an Amish-owned house that is being rented,
Right.
and so it's more,
Is that something that you want me to do, is work with Bernie to do a letter to the owner of the real estate?
My personal opinion is absolutely yes.
Okay.
And go so far as to say, obviously, I think Bernie's tried his best to try to alleviate the issue and get it solved.
Yes.
It doesn't sound even like it's even close.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't have a problem if we condemn the house, and that's a legal option.
yeah.
Send a strong message that either fix it or
Close it.
or close it.
I mean, it kind of makes sense to me. If you've got a real, actual public health hazard there, then condemning is sometimes the only option you have if the person won't fix it.
Yeah, it's one thing to have that water running off into some vacant lot or vacant field. It's something else to have it running over on the neighbors, in the neighbor's yard or wherever might be the case. You just can't be doing that. Anything else?
I'd like to make the comments for anybody that's watching and understanding. The Board of Health has been dealing with him for approximately 2 years. He did get a soil scientist out there to do something about it, but then ended up not paying him. So anybody that's kind of watching, so they understand that it's not something we're just doing willy-nilly, just happened in the last couple of months. It's been something that's been going on for 2 years. They've tried working with this gentleman, and it just doesn't seem to be getting solved at all. So they asked us to step in to help move this process along. And I agree that we should assist and help them out.
Okay.
Okay, I will reach out to Bernie and work on that.
Where are we at on the space study? Is there any,
So that was, I had a couple more things I didn't know if you wanted to.
Okay.
So the space study, I'm pretty slammed and busy with Sunny Meadows right now, with the committee and everything. So we need to get an RFP put together. That's exactly what we were looking for. And so I've been approached by a lot of engineering firms that say they can handle this situation, but I need to know exactly, or if one of you guys want to kind of take it over and kind of run with it to see exactly what we want the study to include. Does it want to include just one building? Do we include all 8 buildings? Do we want it to include moving around, building? We got to narrow down the scope a little bit. And I didn't want to tell them what the scope would be without having a conversation with you guys. So I don't know if today we want to try to sell that in or just have you guys think about what you would want, and then maybe in the next meeting, bring it more into what the scope is to bid out the process to see what we would like have done. So, because it runs the whole gambit of what you could pay for, and the more we add to it, the more it's going to cost. And so what are we exactly looking at? What I would like to do is really look how to condense things down. When we have 8 buildings, can we condense it down? That will save money on insurances on the properties, maintenance. I talked to Larry, they would save quite a bit on service agreements on furnaces, ACs, all that kind of stuff. But we can shrink them down into smaller buildings.
when you say 8 buildings, or what buildings? I can't come up with.
So we have the
could be
courthouse.
Involved.
Courthouse, highway,
Highway's
community correction. I understand, I'm saying the buildings that we are currently
Yeah,
in, so
but
we
you
can knock them out.
Can't consolidate that with anything else.
And I
Why
agree.
is that included?
I'm just saying that we have 8 buildings that we're in charge of, is all I'm saying. I'm not saying we need to put all 8 buildings on this space study. I'm just saying we have 8 buildings that the county right now is in charge of maintenance on and everything else like that.
But they would not be included in the
No.
study? Okay.
So,
Just
and
on
that's
that.
why we have to, what do we want to include into that study is where we come down to. Obviously, the highway department doesn't need to be included, and community corrections probably doesn't need to be included, but it could be included if you want to start looking at, we put the jail next to it, what can those spaces look like? You know what I mean? Like, you can start playing the whole puzzle real fast and things expand, so.
I think for now, that would be exempt, the community corrections. That's a whole nother situation and pretty much planned out, unless it's changed at some point. With the offices here in town, the 4 buildings here in town,
You
definitely.
have professional service, Chris Commerce Building, you have the annex, you have the health department, and you have the courthouse.
Yeah. I kind of got this thing started off, it seemed like I could do that. I could take it.
Yeah, just with the Sunny Meadows Committee and trying to handle all that situation on top of doing the space study.
Right.
Just kind of put more of a, where we want to have stuff and what they want to look at, because it does cost. The more they look into more buildings, the more it's going to cost, more scope of it's going to cost more.
Yeah,
So,
I'd be interested in doing that.
Now, I don't know, but, sorry, Jim, I don't know about community corrections. I haven't been out there for so long. I don't know, like, if they have extra office space that may assist, I don't know.
I don't know, and I
Like
don't know if we could even
departments.
utilize that, given that it's a correctional facility with state.
Well, I was thinking, like, if it was a probation department, like, you know, because they're kind of
Yeah,
together.
Something
Just something like that. Not, I mean, like, no, I don't think that I could go out there and just be like, hey, I'm gonna work out here.
you said you're out there.
Right? They'd probably send me back. I don't know. I was just thinking that
That's something
type
I would
of
look at.
work.
Ask the question, Lisa Michelle, if she's got any space that could be utilized, sure.
Well, I've been thinking about this myself, and I totally agree with Kellen that Sunny Meadows is an issue that he needs to dwell on at this point. You're dealing with the overall development plan of the county. So I'd be willing to take this project on to help make that transition. And also, having been on the school board and done several projects, I have a little bit of understanding of this. So I'd be willing to do it as well.
I mean, at the end of the day, it'll be consultants that would take care of it, but I just figured, I didn't know if maybe you want to kind of vet through some consultants, because I mean, every engineering firm I've talked to is like, yeah, we can handle that. And then I'm concerned is that they're going to kind of push, hey, we're going to build it, we'll design the building too, and then it's kind of one of those. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys want to kind of, I don't have the time with community connection, with Sunny Meadows to vet a lot of these, so I figured you guys can bring a couple in, I'll look at what you guys look at, and we can vote on one. That's kind of what my thought process was.
Yeah, if you want to lead that, Jim, that'd be fine. I'd just like to be part of that process at some, right? I mean,
All three of us need to be.
you need to be, but yeah, even in, sure. Okay, go for it. Appreciate it.
I got a couple more things, but you only got a few more minutes. Andrew, did you, with the Baymont, did you explain it to the other two commissioners? I know we talk about Baymont on a regular basis. I didn't know if you wanted to update what's going on with that.
I can update everybody on that. So with Baymont, there's 2 hotels, Baymont and Country Inn and Suites. Actually, their underlying corporations have different names, but it's those 2 hotels. And we had filed suit, the county filed lawsuit against Baymont. Baymont never filed any kind of an answer, and we're working on getting, and I think we maybe even have filed it because Bill signed an affidavit for default judgment. The person that is sort of the lead in dealing with the county from the hotel standpoint is a gentleman by the name of Ganesh. And he emailed back saying that, he was, kind of indicating that he was upset, and they've been complying, and the county's not been patient, and I emailed him back to correct him on that. Yes, the county has been patient, waited a long time. He's claiming, hey, we've paid 8 of the 10 payments owed, and, and maybe some more payments coming in or something, and that's fine, and we're going to acknowledge all of that to the judge in the default judgment hearing. We're not going to get a judgment for, money they've already paid. We're not doing that. But they've not paid any of the interest, any of the penalties on those months. If you go 30 days, I think it is, there's a 15% penalty, there's like 5%, then another 10%. They never paid those. There's attorney fees owed under the ordinance, they've never paid those. So we're pushing it through to a default judgment because we have waited a long, long time. The Visitors Bureau has waited a long, long time. So that's where we're at. And if this guy wants to complain and saying we're not patient, I think we've got plenty of evidence to show the county has bent over backwards and has been very patient.
And I agree. We've been very patient, and just because he now wants to pay what he should have paid a couple of years ago and doesn't want to pay the fees and fines, that's not how that works. Like, you need to, it's not whenever you decide you want to pay the money that you're collecting from the people that are going there and then taking it and then give it to us when you're ready for it. It's not how business operates, at least here in DeKalb County. So I've talked to Andrew many, many times about Baymont, and we want to have good business partners within the community that follow the rules, and that's.
And the vast majority, and
they all do.
The vast
I mean,
majority
yeah.
of hotels are good partners on this. It's just, yeah.
That's just, I wanted to bring that up to him because that's my stance on it is you have to pay everything that you are owed because we've given you a lot of allowance, and I've talked to the treasurer and the previous treasurer, and they've tried to work with him on multiple occasions, and we
just keep getting stories.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think I saw like the second accountant dying story came
Yeah,
through. So
yes.
like a year ago or so, the first accountant died story came out, and then now when the second one comes through, maybe it's true, but I'm just really skeptical.
So are we going to start down this path with the Country Inn and Suites?
Yes,
one now?
I think I've got a complaint prepared, and I'm going to follow up on that. I've got a note to follow up to see where we are on that. I think we're close to getting that lawsuit filed too. And that one is still being repaired from water damage, so
I
it's
think
not
so.
incurring further
No.
stuff, but we still want to go for.
I haven't seen any movement out there from construction in a long time either, so.
Yep, and he made the comment, Ganesh made the comment that he wanted to, sell his hotels and get to a state like Ohio or Florida that would treat them better. So, just,
Yeah,
However,
Doesn't make any sense.
I think he's already been in trouble in Ohio, so
yeah.
not sure why.
He probably didn't want to go back to Ohio.
They're nicer than we
Yeah.
are, but
Let's
We're
take
going to hold him to the standard that we hold every other hotel chain in town to the same
Yes.
standard, in my opinion.
Yes.
It's not like we're picking him out of anybody else.
exactly.
that's right.
let's take our break. We'll have time between
All right, we are back.
Okay, you're back on the clock. So Ben, what you got today for us?
Morning. Well, I had a surprise last week, so I got a couple of quotes for you on an unexpected pipe I'm gonna have to buy. I got a quote from St. Regis Culvert and one from Metal Culverts on a 144-inch 10-gauge spiral, and then I got one on a 144-inch diameter 10-gauge riveted 3x1. Oops. The price for the St. Regis culvert, $40,772. The one for Metal Culverts is $43,484, so there's a difference of $2,712. The one from Metal Culverts is a riveted pipe. It's a lot stronger pipe. I would prefer to go with that for where we're putting it. Or we could go with the spiral. I did it a little bit different. Just, I did it for two 20-foot sections and one 40-foot section because I want the splices outside the roadway. So we'll have a little bit extra expense in another band than what we typically would, but that's where they typically fail. So I wanted them out from underneath the roadway. This will go on County Road 35 just south of 12. There's a big pipe there that last Thursday, Friday sucked a big hole in the road. And it'll need replaced. We walked down in it, there's several holes down in it. The inspection report we just had done said it was good for 15 years. Evidently it had more water in it or something when they inspected it. So I got 2 copies here. You guys don't have an issue with me going with, I prefer to go with the riveted, it's $2,700 more, but the one for $40,000 will work.
I think it's worth the difference, to have the quality. Every time you have to replace that, it's more money excavated and so forth, so. Yeah, I agree with Ben.
What fund will this come out of? Will it come out of the bridge fund, or is this?
Comes out of my Cume Bridge Fund. But I've got money in there for supplies and contractual. It just wasn't planned. So we'll have to shuffle projects around to make up the difference. But
You said the other guy came out and said it was good for 15 years?
we had them all inspected a year ago.
Is there any, like, discount or anything we can go after them for saying that was, 15 years and this year is a big difference.
I mean, they inspect them the best their ability. I mean, when they're full of water, water's flowing, and sediment in the pipe, you can't look at all of it.
That's fine, I just didn't know if there was any kind of clause in there or
Unfortunately.
something. They guaranteed
They
anything.
just do that. It helps give us an idea. They inspect all of them and we'll go through them, and it gives us a starting point and also helps keep the liability from us as we are inspecting them and showing our due diligence. And these are in the ground. You can only inspect so much when they're in the ground and water's through them. And
What exactly happened? I'm sorry. There was a hole?
it's got holes in it. Started at the flow line. And actually, I think this one's got a band that's failed on it.
Okay with that, I just had some questions. I'm fine, too. I have no issues.
Motion?
I would so move we accept the higher bid
From Metal Culverts.
on the metal culvert, what, $43,484?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
How long will it take to be done? Did they give you an idea of timeline?
I'm not sure what the delivery time is on this one. It don't say. Hopefully we'll have it within 30 days. We went down, we done a patch on it, but I don't want to leave it.
No, I just didn't know issue with shutting down the road or anything, if we're gonna have to do that.
I hope not. Not yet. We're monitoring it. We patched it. The thing that changes when we get a lot of rains and water comes up, it can pull and suck, and that's what we got to watch for. But we'll just monitor it and But we've got it patched for now. Next thing I have is the bid doc for the Spencerville Covered Bridge roof replacement. I sent that to all of you to review. I did make a correction this morning for Andrew's request on the St. Joseph River. Changed the name from how I had it spelled. Everything else stayed the same. If you guys are okay with sending it out to bid, I've got a copy here for you to sign for myself and one for Susan. I would just sign it. It's up to
Both
you.
of them, and then he can have his and I'll have mine.
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A motion second on the floor, and additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. Motion carries.
Just sign the one.
You had two.
Oh.
Okay, top one.
Just the top one sign.
We'll swap them back.
Okay, I'll get them sent out today, and we'll see what we get.
Might be limited,
What's that, Bill?
might be limited on the number of bids we get because of the scaffolding process. Yeah.
Then the last thing I have for you guys, I drafted a letter that you requested me to for the support to the DNR. I'll reference the fascia for the covered bridge. So I've given you guys all a draft of that letter. If you want anything changed on that, I can make changements, but that's what I've drafted. I was going to send this to the DNR along with a letter I received from Mary Deal, the historian. I think it would be good to send with that as well. So I have a copy here. If you guys are okay with it, I'll have you sign it. I will send that off.
Any suggestions, corrections, or additions?
I think it's totally understandable. Mary Hollabaug's letter certainly spells it out explicitly that what needs to be done to protect that bridge.
I agree.
Total agreement.
Motion for Parker to forward these on to DNR.
I would so move.
I'll second.
A motion second on the floor, additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. Motion carries. Send them on and see what happens.
Susan, do you need a sign?
Oh, Bill didn't see it. I just slid it over to him.
Good one, wasn't it?
I don't know which way to go. I don't know if it matters.
That one, I don't know if it matters.
No, I can come back, Jim. That one.
Sorry.
We're just like the post office, very efficient. How much did we lose last year? How many billion did we lose? Or did they lose? Okay.
And then just last thing I got, just an FYI for you guys, later this afternoon, I'm leaving for road school. I won't be back till Thursday. So I will have my phone if you need something, and then taking my laptop with me, so I'll work on that in the evenings.
I suggest everybody call him 3 times a day, keep track of him.
I'll be down there, so I'll just spy on the,
Yeah,
You going,
I'll
going
spy
down to
on
middle school
him.
too, so.
no, wait a minute, now wait a minute. Something about this doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I'll keep tabs on him.
Yeah, you guys
I
get in
dropped that
trouble.
Apple tracker in his pocket here a little
You
bit
guys get in
ago.
trouble down there. Anything else, Ben?
That's all I have for you guys.
Had a complaint about County Road 17 just north of 6, a suck hole or something going on in the road.
I'm not aware of a suck hole, but might be a frost boil. We've experienced a lot of frost boils.
Have you?
Oh, yes.
Have your driver maybe check it out a little bit. I don't know how far north of 6. US 6, I should say,
Right.
17. Yeah.
And just from my general knowledge, with the railroad track crossings, do you have like a scheduled maintenance time on that, or do you just, I know the one on
Just what
35 is
they-
really rough. I know it's something to do with you, but I didn't know if there's,
They don't give you no scheduled
they
maintenance
just,
on that.
okay, I didn't know if they gave you a heads up, knowing that it's gonna be shut down for a certain
They
period of
do
time.
sometimes when they're gonna close it. They will send us out an email. Not always, and I don't remember getting one on that. I've gotten some on the Norfolk Southern line through Waterloo and Butler. There's maintenance coming up on those. And Waterloo's been replying to them because with 6 being closed, and then they got Center Street closed, to really coordinate with them because of the potential traffic issues, but whether they do or not, that's
For them.
foreseen, I don't know.
Yeah, just some people have asked me, I said the railroad crossings are the railroad crossings jurisdiction, that's their prerogative, so.
They sometimes work with us, but most of the time they do it their leisure when they want.
Yep. I figured as
unfortunately.
much. All I got for Ben.
We still have the Huron, Heron Lake, Heron something,
Full release agreement?
yeah,
Asphalt,
When
letter of credit.
Yeah.
mutual release agreement.
You want me to speak to that for a little?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So, we had, or I had discussed this at a commissioners meeting a while back. The issues that are coming, that had come up because Heron Development itself is in bankruptcy, and I think they're trying to work out maybe somebody to purchase it or a developer to purchase it, or, you know, how they're gonna deal with that. And the letter of credit was still hanging out there, so I let everybody know after you guys had voted on it and made that decision, which I think was the right decision, to say we're not pursuing the letter of credit. And that's all well and good, but apparently Wayne Asphalt from their end is requesting that we sign that mutual release document, or release document that I had reviewed and also sent to you. And then also give up the letter of credit. Now, letters of credit are sort of, I guess I would say, an unusual type of document where the original letter is almost like having a check or a promissory note, you know, and ripping up the original promissory note sort of thing. So if we're not going to pursue it, I don't see a legal problem with giving up the original note if that's going to help them prove as, you know, that they don't have this hanging out, and allow the bank to release the money. Basically, it allows the bank to release the money, or they can, you know, use the cash as a letter of credit for somebody else or some other project if they wanted to. Letters of credit basically means, I believe, that the bank has that cash in a separate account, so that if we ever needed to draw down on it, it would be there. That's kind of like a guarantee. So now, if we don't, I don't know that Wayne Asphalt has any grounds to sue the county or anything, but I also, in looking at it, don't see necessarily a problem with giving it up either, if we're not going to pursue it. That's just my thoughts. Obviously, it's up to you.
What's your thoughts?
Do it, so. If it makes life,
I think it'll make life, maybe even for the bankruptcy case, a little bit easier for the trustees and everybody, just to clear it all up.
We're not gonna pursue it, I don't see a problem with it either.
you know,
Yes, yes, you would. You'd need a motion to sign the release and to give up the original letter of credit, Susan, to her credit, found the original letter of credit,
I did.
which is good.
To her credit.
I so move that we give back the letter of credit and do not to pursue any
Yeah, do the release.
release as presented.
I'll second.
My motion is second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. We will sign.
Thank you, I think this will be good. And then if you give me the original, I'll just do a letter or a FedEx down there, the original.
It says by, and then it has ITS.
So just sign
Got to get you a stamp.
Okay. Moving on. What else we got?
I got 3 things. So, update on the jail. I went to the county council meeting on Wednesday. I don't know if you watched, Jim, or anything. So basically, the will of the council, it seemed like, was they were going to wait until December 31st, 28 to the last payment. They wanted to save up, thanks. They want to save up the money. They're not going to want to try to pay it off early or even fund it earlier and then do it. So just kind of on the waiting. We have, per Susan, we have 9 years left on the taxing option after the last payment is done. And it'd be about, if nothing, and Susan might correct me here, if nothing increases for that lit tax, it would be about 16 million that we'd collect over that last 9 years. Now, it's probably going to increase because it is an income-based tax. So, but we don't want to count that in or anything like that. So just an update of what the will of the council kind of was. So there's really nothing we can do moving forward at the jail as of right now. I think in probably early 28 or late 27, we should probably start looking at doing the bid process, getting that process going. So that way, when the last payment's paid, we're ready to hit the ground running, and so we can start using that 9 years left on the tax options. My opinion on it. So there's really not much we can do on movement until 27, really, at this point. So that was just the jail update. The Sunny Meadows, I talked to the council about Sunny Meadows. They put Bob Kraft on, which we figured it would be. And I'm hoping to get together with a meeting with him and a couple other on Thursday, start the process of going through the Sunny Meadow committee stuff. Really nothing new on that except for the insurance I was going to bring up, but Kyle came and stole my thunder on that one. So I wanted to bring up some good news at least, but it is what it is. And then the last thing I got is the complaint form. Did you guys ever get a chance to look at that? Did you get a chance to look at that?
I know
I
I
didn't really
looked
get to
at,
follow up with it, guys.
I don't know if I ever got a new link to it, or do I need to look on the?
No, I'll reach out to him and see if he can send you guys
Yeah, if
something
you just
this
send
week.
it to me, I'll review it. I looked at it originally when it came through, and I was fine with it. But
I'd like to get that going and get that up and live soon, so the complaint form, to make sure it's up and live and make sure you guys are okay with how it looks. So I'll see if he can send you that link over and have you take a look
Yep.
at it, so that way next meeting we can get that.
I'll try to take a quick look at it.
Yeah.
Get it right back.
I didn't get a chance to follow up with him last week because I was Sunny Meadows. I got a little distracted and busy, so.
Yep.
That is all the things I had on my list.
Seems like we have an ongoing pest control problem out there. Don't understand why we can't get a handle on that.
And Sunny Meadows, yeah, I guess I saw the email. It was Friday, I think it came in. Did you ever find that agreement or anything?
The reports, I actually think I sent them to you last. I'll look for them. Give me just a second. Because I was thinking that it had come pretty quick.
Are you guys familiar with bed bugs?
Yes, I'm very familiar with bed
Oh, yeah,
bugs.
you would be, wouldn't you? Okay. Yeah.
And anybody that's watching, I do a hoarding clean out business, and I deal with bed bugs on a regular basis. Not that I have them personally at my house.
you would
so
be.
I want to clarify that.
I
My
should've
wife
known
will
you
stab
would.
me when I get home. I do not have bed bugs at my house.
I'm glad you clarified that.
Yes.
Okay.
I was just asking because when I deal with it in family law cases, there's a lot of work involved in cleaning up fabrics and
Very much so.
clothes and everything.
My portion of it is do the bed bug prep. I usually prep for the companies to come in and do the heat treatment or the chemical treatment.
Yeah, the heat
depending on
treatment.
Whatever they're gonna do. Heat treatment's the best option, but you usually have everybody out of the house, so I don't know how they would do it at Sunny Meadows anyways, and so it is what it is. I mean, that's my gist of is the bed bug prep part of it is what I deal with. So,
Okay. I will forward. Okay, there, I just forwarded to you all the last one. I don't know, though, if this has to do with the bed bugs or if it's just the other pests. It might just be the other pests, and I don't know if I've seen. Oh, yeah, here's the bedbug one, and it says none noted.
and when was this work date, 2/26?
Yeah, this was, yeah, when we just talked about it not too long ago. Okay, I just sent the second one that is the bedbug one. Says they delivered whatever Steri Fab is ×2, and pest activity, none noted, nothing noted, nothing noted.
I can reach out to them. I'm kind of dealing with something as I reach out to them and see what's going on and have a conversation with them.
Target pest mouse. Yeah.
We want to circle back to the plaques. Are we, if we come to an agreement, do we want to start doing it this year, or do we want to wait till next year? Because I already have a 5-year, no, I have a 10-year one coming up, 10 years of service, so. I know you guys are going to think about it, but I need to know, I'll let her know that maybe I'll push that off and not do the certificate this week. I was going to, if we're going to do,
I can't find my thing. So if we go to the 10, 20, 30, how many is that this year? I might find it sooner. My papers are a hot mess today. Okay. 9, 10, 11, 12. You said-
we'll have 9 10 years, 2 20 years, and 1 30 year. We have 27 3 years, 15 5 years, 3 15 years, and 1 25. So we'd have, this year, if we did the 10, 20, 30, it'd be 12 people.
So $240. I probably could find $240 in the county general budget. Otherwise, it would end up going to your lighted administrative dollars.
Much we have, we got quite a bit, of course, on that yet, right?
Yeah, you have plenty in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'll do is I will send you some samples, see which guys you like, and then next meeting we can agree to it, and then I can get it going, and I'll let them know that when I hand out the certificate to them, since that's already printed off, I'll give them it anyways, and I'll let them know that a plaque is on their way. But then that way you can decide on which ones you guys want to agree to of how we want to do it. There's a couple of options. You have the standard ones, you have the state of Indiana ones, there's some other ones you could do, just kind of what you guys feel. Waiting for Apex to know.
So, okay, two questions. One, the plaques, are you doing those with the elected officials also? Depending if they've been here?
I was going off
However
whatever,
it goes through the years. Okay.
however Morgan has the system set up is what I was doing it on.
Okay.
I wasn't picking and choosing who got them. It's whatever Morgan and Dottie's system is.
And then, okay, what are we doing? Did we decide anything with Sunny Meadows and their tests?
I'm gonna call.
Okay.
I'll call Big Arrow this week and talk to him a little bit since I understand that field a little bit better, if you guys don't mind, so.
Okay.
I like that one.
I have a couple other ones. Those are just some samples I sent you generally. I kind of like the idea of having like a state of Indiana one too. That was kind of something that I thought too, maybe, but.
I'm kind of shying away from that.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to think Indiana's doing this for them. I don't want to get the idea that Indiana's doing it for them.
That's fine.
It's a county, that's my thought anyway.
Okay, so I was just grabbing some samples out there to kind of give, they're all pretty well around the same. I mean, they're not too fancy. They're different. Only other one I saw out there that I would, really unique would be the state of Indiana shape and then have all the information on it. You can keep those, I got. I'll send you some more information on that this week, and next week, and then that way we can maybe
Did you see those?
go ahead and go forward with it on the next meeting.
Like that top one. It just pops. Pops. It's a little different than a lot of plaques are, and it pops. But we'll look at whatever else you got, of course.
Discussion the last meeting about ordering them like at the start of Morgan and Dottie, and we're not sure if we didn't think it would be a good idea to order them till the employees hit that. And you had said you weren't sure at the time if we needed to do like bulk and have them all ordered, like every January we're ordering all of this list that she gives us, and they didn't think that was a good idea.
I was gonna see if we get a discount at all, and then if we did get a discount, have a conversation. If not, there's really no reason to order them all if we don't get a discount for it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Just
Like I
in-
said, waiting for an email back from at least the one 1999 one, because it goes down to about $13, I believe, if you order 50 of them. But I think with now doing just the 10, 20, 30, I don't think we'll ever get to a point of a bulk discount anyways at this point. So I'll change up the email and see how long it takes them to get them done, and that way we can just order them the month prior, then that way.
Okay.
That's okay with you guys?
Should be fine. All right, anything else? From anyone?
Did you also check already, I'm sure you did, with the award people here in town?
Morgan sent me some stuff over with that too. This was just a general information. I will find out an actual price on. I just need an idea of what you guys kind of liked, and then I can compare them to what other people's got.
Okay. Okay. Well, take a break. Got 10 minutes till Apex comes in.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, nice.
I just had it set up to deliver. It was easy peasy.
I do have us back on live, so make sure your mics are on when we're discussing, and then you guys can decide what to do.
We're on. We're live. Yeah, I would love to do introductions since we have a couple of new members of the committee. If that works out, we can start if you would like.
I'm Bill Sylvester. I'm an advisor at Apex Benefits. Been there 12 years. Glad to be here.
Yep, I'm Lauren McMahon. I am DeKalb's account executive, and we've now been working on this plan for, I think, a little over 2 years, or right around 2 years.
I'm Andrew Cruz, the county attorney.
I'm Jody Wiedenhoff, the first deputy.
I'm Susan Sleeper, the county auditor.
Bill Hartman, DeKalb County Commissioner.
Morgan Hensey, HR assistant.
Dottie Miller, Director of HR.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys please feel free to eat, and we can just jump in and do most of the talking here. So the first page is your team, and it has all of our contact information. I think most of you have it, but our emails and cell phone numbers are on that second page. But we would love to go over where we are at this plan year so far financially, and talk a little bit about what's going on within the plan clinically, and then get into our renewal projection for the upcoming plan year and discuss some strategies that we might employ. Okay, so the first page with a ton of numbers on it is the executive financial summary. And this is comparing the first 6 months of the current plan year to the first 6 months of the last plan year. So we're trying to look apples to apples where we were at for the 23-24 compared to our current 24-25 plan year. So I will pick out a few items high level, but I can also go through, if I'm going too fast or you want to go into a little bit more detail, please let us know. So the employee enrollment, when we're looking at average employee enrollment, we're right at 212 for the first 6 months of this plan year as an average, where we were at about 200 the previous plan year. So we do have about 12 more employees on average, and then 5 more members on average. So we're averaging 314 members versus 310 in the previous plan year. So, of course, when enrollment goes up, that means that plan costs typically are going to go up just because we have more fixed costs per employee, and then, of course, those employees are also bringing claims along with them. So looking at medical gross spend on the paid claims column, so far this year, we're at $1.36 million, where the prior plan year, we were at $888,000. So that is up almost $500,000 over where we're at this time in the last plan year. And you can see that RX gross spend has also gone up. So looking at about $592,000 for the first 6 months versus $415,000 from the prior plan year. So gross spend, so all those claims together, right at about $2 million, 1.95, and this plan year, and 1.3 the previous plan year. So since we did have several large claimants, that means our stop loss reimbursements, we're at about $51,000 for the plan year. We had $112,000 from the previous plan year reimbursed at this time. And if I recall from the last plan year, we had one really high claimant that jumped right out of the gate. So that's why we had more reimbursements right away from the previous plan year. But looking down at net spend, we're at $1.9 million year to date. And that's through, that's July to the end of December. And the previous plan year, we were at 1.2. So pharmacy, we are looking at 30% of your total spend. And that's pretty high, even for our book of business and from the industry. We're typically seeing, anywhere from 15, 20, maybe low 20s, but 30% is certainly a high spend on the pharmacy side. So you guys have a lot of things going on. When we get into the clinical discussion, we'll look at that. So fixed costs, since your employee count has gone up, that's where you're gonna see those fixed costs increase. We're at 16,000 or 17,000 in admin. Previous year, we were about 14,000. Individual stop loss, so that's that cap on each individual on the plan. That is that catastrophic insurance that we're paying for. So far, we've paid 264,000. The year before was 246,000. Then for aggregate, so that's that protection on the plan as a whole, that is at 22,000 for the year. Previous year, we were at 13,000, bringing our total fixed cost just over 300,000, whereas the prior year, we were at 273. So we did have a slight increase at our renewal, but the majority of what's driving that is, the increase in stop loss costs and the increase in employee enrollment. So when we look at our budget, we do budget to the maximum liability, so 125% of expected. We had our total budget all in is 2.1 or 2.2 million. Previous year was 1.6 million for those budgeted costs. And that budget accounts for both the increase in our fixed cost enrollment, and then we're also looking at claims, at our claim spend for that per employee per month. So total plan costs all in is 2.2 million for the year. Previous year, we were looking at 1.5 at this time. So you can see that that per employee per month has gone up pretty significantly to about 1,700. Previous year was about 1,200. Any questions on the executive financial summary?
The
You can see
employee
that-
premium, the EPM, what is that?
Which one are you looking at? Employee premium per employee per month. So that is what your employees are actually paying back to the plan. So that's what you're collecting in premiums. You're collecting on average $157 of premium per employee. So that's going to be averaged out from, your singles are going to be lower, your families are going to be higher, but that's the average of what you're bringing in from
Is that
employees. Per employee per month.
per month?
Yes. Yep, that's correct. And then you can see that the employer premium is what you're looking at.
Dottie, how many employees do we have for the county?
Total? Yeah.
It says employees enrolled is the 1271, and then members enrolled is 1886. So where are those, I guess I'm confused.
So, yeah, so that's actually, so that's going to be monthly times 6 are those numbers. If you look down at the average employee enrollment, it's going to average it out divided by 6. It's just taking that 1271 and dividing by 6 to get the average per month.
Okay, I get it.
Yep.
I was confused. I'm like, we don't have 1,200.
I know, I actually don't. I don't like that either. I just go straight to the average.
If this is for 6 months, why wouldn't the employee number be calculated out to 6 months?
It is, it's divided by 6. So the 1271 is your enrollment each month total. So we're looking at 6 months of enrollment. It's a confusing number, but if you just look at the average employee enrollment, that's that 1271 divided by 6. Any other questions on the executive summary? Okay. So if you flip to the next page, this is our monthly clinical report. So for the newer commissioners, each month our Kinetic Health team goes into your claims and analyzes your high claimants. So anybody that goes over $10,000 in spend starts to show on this report. And you can see each member by total spend. And on the left-hand side, it shows our current risk category. So medium means we're keeping an eye on them. We're unsure at this point if they're going to have significant ongoing spend or if it's more of a one-and-done type incident. A low risk is that one-and-done type thing, so it could be childbirth, things like that. And then our high risk is where we are going to see ongoing spend for that member, and we expect to see high ongoing spend.
You want to explain kinetic health?
Yeah, absolutely. So our kinetic health team is devised of clinical nurses, licensed dietitians, we have clinical social workers, and they are who are in your claims monitoring month to month. So they're going into all these members and seeing if they can intervene, control costs, maybe a medication's coming through that is higher than it should be. They can reach out and negotiate those type of pharmacy items down. So they are the ones who are really helping us control those claims costs and spend. Yeah, and we also have a team called Innovative RX. They are a pharmacy consulting team, and they are going to be the ones who are really intervening on the pharmacy side because they are licensed pharmacists. We have, I think there's 8 or 9 of them at this point on staff.
The medication's so high because it looks like there's some cancer treatments?
Yeah,
Is that why the medication's so high?
yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna just kind of walk through some of these high-risk type items. Our largest spend is the aortic aneurysm, so we're keeping an eye on that. There was significant spend in January, and I just got January claims in as I was putting this meeting together, so this is all brand new. I haven't sent this one out yet. So that top member is at 171,000. We're gonna keep an eye on them. Our second is a knee replacement. That one is low risk at this point. They did one knee 1 month, and then a couple months later did the other knee. So that spend we should start to see decrease. And that was a spouse. The relationships, you can see if they're a spouse, employee, or child enrolled in the plan. Then a couple of medium, there's a spinal stenosis procedure. We have not seen significant spend on that one in 3 months. So we're hoping to see that one start to taper off. And then, I don't know what NSTEMI is, but.
A non-STEMI.
Yes.
Heart attack, non-heart attack.
There you go. And then when we start to go into the high ongoing spend, so we have this chronic inflammatory member, and that has been ongoing spend each month. A couple of hip replacements, knee replacements, those are one and done, but then we're getting into a bunch of high pharmacy costs. So hemophilia, that one is newer to the plan. You can see that in December it started to hit and is really driving up in January. So this one, since it's really our first month of seeing high spend, I'm going to go back to our kinetic team and see if we can intervene, get this person in case management, or potentially work through some of their pharmacy items. And then we have Cosentyx, Skyrizi, Humira. We have a malignant neoplasm, so breast cancer, and then a couple of Enbrels, which are all just high-cost medications. So you can see in that section is exactly what's driving that high pharmacy spend. Also, the last one, Humira, that one just hit for the first time in January as well, so I would expect that one to be jumping up to your high-cost claimants as well. And then each. Yeah, so those specialty medications, correct. So if they have a lower cost, if there's a lower cost option for that, the pharmacy about twice a year, they go through their formulary and put the lower cost items on there. If there is one, sometimes we're looking at, it's still a brand, but it has higher rebates. So that's determined a couple times a year. Yep. Absolutely. All right, any questions on that? So when we flip to the next page, this is our renewal projection. We are, if you look at the page after that, it has our assumptions on there as well, that our data team is assuming. We have a 4% assumed admin increase, specific stop-loss premium increase of 10%, ag of 4%, your PCORI, which are those fees you pay. It's a very small fee, but we still like to keep it in the projection. And then our blended trend, so that is approximately 6.8% medical and 12% pharmacy. That's what we're trending things out. That's what we're seeing in the market. So that blended trend is 7.9%. So looking at the projection, this year, this plan year, we expected 3.2 million in claims from our projection from the previous year. 33,000 projected for admin, stop loss cost about 619,000, and then our PCORI of 1134. So our total expected costs for the year were 3.89 million. We budgeted to maximum liability, since this is a newer plan, and we wanted to ensure that we had the funds budgeted. So our current maximum liability for the plan year was 4.69 million. When I jump back to the financials, I'll explain that maximum liability a little bit more, because we are trending basically over the maximum at this point. So we'll be expecting an aggregate refund at the end of the year if it continues to trend like that. So jumping to the expected for the 25-26 plan year, trending those claims forward, we're expecting 3.95 million if we make no plan changes for claims. 34,000 for admin costs, 679,000 for stop loss. So that would bring our expected to 4.664, which is pretty close to what the maximum is right now, 6% or 0.6% under. If we were looking to budget to max liability for the next plan year, we'd be looking at a 20.4% increase to overall plan costs.
Is that in line with other companies, governments, entities?
So we are seeing that your claims, both on the pharmacy and medical cost side, are above average on the per employee per month side, from what we're seeing across our book of business. And Bill, I don't know if you want to speak to the county side.
Let me speak to the county
Yes.
side because I have 21 Indiana County clients, okay? When I take your PEPM, your per employee per year cost, not just the month, but if I average that for the year, because it's easier for me to speak to the yearly cost than the monthly cost. Your cost per employee per year is $18,000, trending this year at $18,959 per employee per year. That would put you, of the 21 county clients I have, that would make you the most costly county that I have, probably by $2,000 per employee per year, which is a lot. So of my county clients, which are more than 20-some% of the state of Indiana, the average is probably about $14,000 per employee per year for somebody with a traditional plan like you have with a traditional network, United Healthcare, Anthem. Those that are non-traditional that are a little bit more risky, but they are somewhere between $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $11,000 per employee per year cost. So you are a very high cost county. Yes. And when I'll elaborate a little bit when we get into some of our recommendations and suggestions. I will go into why I think that is. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So flipping forward to our strategies and solutions, guys, as much as I would love to go through these individually, I think we need to look a little bit bigger picture than some of these individual items. But one that I want to call out on the bottom of that page are narrow networks. There are ways to control costs, of course. I know that the concept of putting the Surest plan in place was to have, that excellent care. Employees aren't paying, too much for, that the county is getting, the employees are getting the care that they need. But I also heard you say, at our last renewal, that we can't continue trending up at this rate year over year. So I think that we need to look big picture this year and look at some options on the medical side. So one of those things is a narrow network. Right now, you have a national network in place with United Healthcare. Surest is it's the TPA, but it's the United Healthcare network. Employees can go to Parkview, they can go to Lutheran. Really, that national network is going to be the most all-encompassing. But if we do narrow that network down to, say, a Parkview or a Lutheran, we can absolutely drive cost savings in one of those narrower networks. On the Parkview side, of course, they're very expensive, but the Signature Care narrow network is going to offer the deepest discounts with Parkview, and we're in a Parkview region. The hospital here is Parkview. I know. And trust me, if you want to save more money, we can absolutely look at Lutheran and look at a Three Rivers Preferred Network. We can bring both to the table to show you and see what they both look like if we do take one out or the other out. But those are some options network-wise that can help us control costs. So IU Health is coming to the area. I don't know that we have enough network access to narrow it down to like an IU Health only, but on the United Healthcare side, you do have coverage at IU Health. So your employees can go there now, but I don't think that the access is here yet to really narrow it down to just IU Health. I don't know if you feel the same.
IU Health is getting out of their own network business too.
Yeah, that is true.
So IU Health is getting, they are eliminating their own network. I don't know if they'll go to something else, but you live in an area where 2 of the 3 hospital systems, IU Health and Parkview, are the 2 most expensive networks, not only in the state of Indiana, but in the country, and that's an issue. So in talking about what we can do within where you live and where you go to the hospital, they give themselves in their own narrow networks deeper discounts than they give Anthem or Anthem or United Healthcare. Then they'll give them in a more broader network. So that's why Lauren's talking about a narrow network. Let me also add, because I'm going to jump ahead of you probably.
Okay.
On the pharmacy side, so you have extremely high, you're extremely high volume utilizers of medications and higher cost specialty medications. And our pharmacy, our innovative RX pharmacy team actually negotiated a really good contract with PHP. And so what you'd want to do with these higher cost medications are make people use biosimilars that are starting to come out more for these higher cost medications. They're just, they're a lot less expensive than the name brand drugs, especially the name brand drugs that you see on TV with all the commercials and everything. The biosimilars are a lot less expensive. So if we can be a little creative and cut your pharmacy costs dramatically, that would help you. With the plan you're in now, the Surest, so while there's some good things about it, you are spending a lot of money, and I think we have to be more creative in finding cost containment solutions that we can't use with the Surest, because the Surest uses the United Healthcare network, but they won't let you carve out the pharmacy or make changes to the pharmacy benefits. So when I talked about you guys are the most expensive, the most costly county that I have, it's because all of our other counties that are self-funded, we are able to carve certain aspects of that out and use better contracts and cost containment strategies that we can't do with the program that you're in. So that's why I think shopping it and looking at all other plans are going to help you. You want to go?
Yeah, sure. It's a possibility. Every pharmacy benefit manager has their own drug formulary list, and they negotiate those, twice a year, like I talked about. So let's say like the two main diabetic drug solutions that, is usually one or the other, depending on how that pharmacy benefit manager can negotiate the total net cost, meaning the cost and the rebate, and understanding what the lowest net cost drug is. So it truly depends on the pharmacy benefit manager, but no pharmacy benefit manager is going to cover every drug because there's no reason. Yeah, there's exactly. It's tough. Yeah. But with other pharmacy benefit managers, we can put in the creative solutions that Bill was talking about, for example, a patient assistance program. So that would be for those large, high-cost specialty medications, the possibility that the pharmacy benefit manager can help that employee or member get those medications at lower cost to them. And that also benefits the plan because we're getting those manufacturers' dollars that are going towards the plan, so that it's not just the plan picking up the cost.
So to elaborate a little bit on that, I don't know what those medications that you're talking about are. So are they not on the formulary because they may be more expensive? Are they not on the formulary because they're not a favorite of the PBM that you currently have? So again, when we can control the PBM contract and the formulary, maybe it's a more open formulary that's more expensive, maybe it's a more closed formulary that would limit things that you want to limit them to, whether it's cost containment, whether it's certain people are on medications that are more helpful to them. We can control that if we can control the PBM and the PBM contract. Right now, we have no control over it, and you have no say over it.
By the way, PBM stands for Pharmacy Benefit Manager.
PBM.
Yeah, I forget, this is my first meeting with you two new guys, but if there are things that, you sound pretty medically in tune.
I was a paramedic for 20 years, so.
Okay, so we're talking about specific stop loss, we're talking aggregate stop loss, being an ag hit, all of these different things we're talking about, and if you want us to define something or go into more detail and tell you what something is, please let us know.
Yep, absolutely. And those were some of the things we were talking about are on page 11 on the pharmacy side. So when we are looking, we take this out to market and we're looking at a third-party administrator, a TPA. We would also love to look at the pharmacy contracts that some of the different TPAs work with, so we can see, an open formulary is going to be the most drug coverage, and then the closed formulary is going to be a more limited drug list, but a higher cost savings to the plan and to members, of course.
So how do we go about those employees that have specific, they have a specific medical issue, they require a exact certain drug that they have been on, they've already been through step therapy 50,000
Yeah.
times.
Yep.
How do we make it that they don't have to redo step therapy again?
Yeah, so when you move from one pharmacy benefit manager to another, it's definitely a discussion to have during the dating phase, but 99.9% of the time, they will grandfather step therapy. They just need to have their physician submit that clinical data so that they can say, you know, okay, this person's already gone through that process. But that's something we work through in implementation, just to ensure, we really handhold that process to make sure we're not, you know, causing a ton of disruption. Pharmacy is in my opinion, most disruptive thing to move.
Yes.
However, the cost savings is, you know, very significant if you can do it correctly, so.
No, I understand that,
Yeah.
but there's just some times you just can't redo a step therapy just because insurance wants you to try something.
Absolutely, no, absolutely agree. And we do ensure with our pharmacy team and Innovative, we work together on those implementations to really work through those disruption upfront, and then into the new plan year as well.
So there's another thing that I always go back to in this business. In order to contain cost, you have to do certain things, right? In order to make people healthier, you may have to forego some cost containment strategies. So the beauty of you being a self-funded plan is you get to pick and choose what that balance is. You know what I mean? And when we can make changes and when we can bring ideas to the table because we can control certain things, then you get to make those decisions based on what's best for your population or your cost or whatever. So right now, we're a little bit hamstrung with this Surest plan because we can't control things.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else on
A
the
little
pharmacy?
too much bill here, but
Never too much.
Now, I know there's been some conversation at the state level about these pharmacy benefit managers. Is that going to, you guys following that? Is that going to have any issue affect us in any sort of way? 'Cause I know Senator Johnson, I believe, is trying to tackle that issue a little bit.
what specifically are you talking about?
I just know that they're having conversations down there, right, Rick? I mean, there's some conversations about that down there.
So, yes, that will have, that, there's so much going on in the legislation now about healthcare, it's unbelievable. Like, there's a lot of different things. But, so the one thing on that is, I think, in the pharmacy space, there are so many people that have their hands in the cookie jar, and it's all contractual, and there are so many different ways or things you can do with definitions in these contracts. So one of the things that our team prides ourselves in is 100% pass-through rebates to the client, to the member. We've taken over so many county governments where, quite honestly, the broker's getting the compensation or the TPA is getting compensation out of that. So we put definitions in the contract where I don't know that that's even going to matter to you or to us, because we put language in there and we show you, we put language in these things that benefits you and not us. And yeah.
Yeah.
So along those lines too, like I know the property tax cap thing, that's going to be, I don't know where we're at with that, but that's going to be a big thing for county governments. If your property tax is capped, it's going to, you know, the insurance is one of your largest line items, right? So you can't keep going up and up. You've got to be able to control the cost of insurance if your revenue is capped. So you don't even know this, but like David Bodorf of the AIC, I've had several conversations because he's worried about the cost of health insurance for counties. And I've had conversations, he's he is looking at different things such as maybe trusts or pharmacy coalitions or, NACO has their, did you send that to me? NACO has their own PBM and contract, and I'm not sure, I don't even like saying this on TV and with the microphone, but I'm not sure it's the best contract. But everybody has their own angle on this, and coalitions, sometimes people have their hands in the cookie jar that you don't want them to have their hands in the cookie jar, but somebody's making money off something, right? So having transparency, which I think we advocate for, having transparency in medical claims and specifically on the pharmacy side, it's what we advocate for, right? So we want to be able to put you in something that we or you can control, as opposed to not having any control, not seeing the contract and not knowing who's got their hands on the money. So, yeah, it's, the only thing I can say to do is to shop and look at all of your different options. And at that point, you get to weigh what is the disruption versus what is the cost savings and what can we afford to do as we offer benefits to our employees.
Yeah, yeah. But have your costs ever been where they are at this point, either?
Going up faster as we like them to go.
Well, of course, yeah. Yep, our job is to give you those options, and your job is to make the choice for your employees. So we would like to give you, some options to look at, and then discuss what you can afford and what's important.
It's really tough. It's really tough when you're using systems that are very costly, and then they also require steerage to their facility in order for them to give you their best price. So it's a tough thing.
Yeah. I want to go back to the cost. The number you give us was $18,959 per employee per year.
Oh, yes,
That's county?
that's county.
What does that cost the employee? What is the employee paying per
We have that?
employee per year?
Yeah, so in that executive financial statement, we have the per employee per month is that 157, so really bad at math, but we could do 157 times 12. You guys have very low, so about 1884 per employee per year, 1,884 for premiums.
That's for premium.
Premium, that's what they're paying for their insurance, 1,884.
Did you? I've got.
So that is blended, so that would be, yeah, that would be between the different tiers.
You have the spring.
I have it all broken down.
Yeah, at the very back of the, presentation, I have your full financials, which I'd love to walk through if we have time. And I can do that now or at the end, but I know that you'll start getting these monthly, the Dottie and Morgan and Susan already get these, so I'm sure they'll distribute it out, but.
I don't know if I know what you're talking about, but.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't get anything. But right now, and, let me see. Depending on the plan, so if there's an employee only, the employee is paying 7% of the premium at $1,043.13, and the county's paying 93%. Then the spouse plan, the employee pays 11%, The child plan, employee pays 10%, and the family plan, the employee pays 14% of the.
What's the copay? How does that figure in? Do we have copay? I thought we did.
Yeah, so you have copays on your procedures and visits and things like that. So I am trying to
Yeah,
think of
they run the gamut.
if that is.
When you need a procedure or you want to go to a doctor, you go onto the website or onto an app, and you can put in that doctor or that facility's information, and then it pulls up a copay. And the copay is dependent upon the quality, how many procedures that particular doctor does. There's a whole, equation.
What I'm trying to do is get a handle on what the county pays and what the employee pays per employee per month.
Just for a premium.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
per year, per
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you were to take what Susan said, well, let's just go back to that average. The average employee overall pays about $160 per month, so times that by 12. That's what the employee pays. Then, if you take a look at what the county pays, which is almost, $1,500 per month times 12, those are the figures that you get. So each employee, say an employee only, pays about 7% of what the county pays. And then it goes up from there. Now, last year, we did decide to increase the employee and spouse premium because we noticed that spouses added more cost to the plan with all the procedures, things that they added to the cost, rather than employee and children. So we kind of flip-flopped that. If you take a look at, on the list, how many spouses are on the top 5. It's, 3 of the 5 are spouses. So, that was a right move to increase the employee and spouse premium, that's for sure. Or even, then you have the employee and family, because that does include the spouse.
What if we was to increase the copay? That's
Not copay, premium.
I'm talking copay now.
Yeah, I heard your question about what percentage of like claims, is that what you're talking about? Like the spend, the actual plan spend our employees handling, as I believe was the question. So I can request that from our data team to see if they can pull that out of the data and see what employees are, we know what they're paying in premiums, but I think you're asking what are they shouldering of the healthcare costs?
What overall are they paying compared to what the county's paying?
So I can request
The 7%, in my mind, is pretty minusculous.
Yeah,
pretty
our
low.
book of business average on the claim side is 18%. The employees pay about 18% of total plan spend, or total claim spend. However, I would guess that yours is probably lower than that, simply because of the plan design. The employees aren't going to be paying as much as a high deductible plan where they're paying 100% of their costs. So I would guess that you're lower, but I can try to see if our data team can isolate that number.
And
The 7% that I'm talking about is only premiums.
Yes.
right,
Not
exactly.
copay.
That's
I'd
the
like to see what
premium,
totals.
yeah.
I'd like to see what
Yeah.
other insurance, what are policies? What's the average, overall average of a traditional policy? What the employee pays out of pocket and what the county pays
Yep.
for the
Yep.
employer.
And we can get you some benchmarking
Yeah,
on
I'd like
that
to get some
too.
comparisons, what that
Yeah.
looks like.
We can give you benchmarking on what the plan spend is, contributions. I know we've stepped through that before, but I think it's definitely time to, go through it again. We have a couple new members, and we can definitely bring some benchmarking to the table. I can get that over to you in email.
And the answer is yes. Oops. Oh, yeah, the answer is yes. You can alter your copays. You can put them wherever you want. I'm sure there's a few little hitches to that, but yes, you can put the copays, you can adjust the copays.
Here's something else that our county commissioners did previously for the next plan year 25-26, is that any member who did some biometrics and went to their doctor, had a review, had a physical for the year, had the doctor complete a form and turn it into HR, gets a $50 per pay premium reduction. So that was $50 per pay on their premium. So we need to keep that in mind also.
So starting for the next plan year, if the employee doesn't qualify for the incentive, then they will be paying a higher premium. So we'll be collecting more premium dollars if they don't go through the steps to qualify for the wellness program. Right?
But those that do, then that's that much more that the county has to fund.
So I believe that the incentive, if they achieve the incentive, that they'd be at the same premium dollar amount that they are today. Is that right? Or, okay, so it is truly going below what the, okay.
Okay, but the premium amount hasn't been decided for this year, so I don't know how we can say it stays the same or goes below.
Right, I was thinking like big picture, not the exact dollar amount. So,
Okay.
yeah,
And once again, once you set those premiums, so when you set your premiums or your premium equivalents, you can set them to where, like you said, it's going to be $50 less than it is now. Or if the premiums are higher and you do it, it may be $50 to keep them close to the same.
Exactly.
And there are spreadsheets and Excel spreadsheets where we can show you what's the cost to the county if you set them at this rate or at this rate. So we can show you and let you choose how you want to fund that.
So we'll plan on putting some contribution modeling together that will go along with the marketing results too. Absolutely. All right, so on page 13, when we're looking at our next plan year carrier evaluation and strategy, obviously we've had our main focus on medical since that drives so much of your spend. So I would love to take out medical admin, so that TPA, third-party administrator. Right now, Surest, we'd like to look at some options to see what kind of cost savings we can get on the TPA side, but also on the network side. And then reinsurance, of course, we will take that out every year as we always do. Pharmacy is currently carved in, meaning it is tied to your third-party administrator. So it is Optum and it's tied to Surest. So we would look at what the potential savings could be with pharmacy benefit managers within the different TPAs that we look at. Then ancillary is up. They are all off of rate guarantee other than LTD and STD. So dental, vision, basic life, voluntary life, those are all up for renewal this year. So my suggestion would be to take those out to market as well, do a market check for cost savings. We've also, I know, had some service issues with the standard and some frustration from you guys on the billing side as well as the service side. So it's probably time to take that out anyway and see if it's time to make a change even on the service standard side.
Question,
Yes.
actually, two.
Yeah.
This is basic life and AD&D. What is AD&D?
That is accidental death and dismemberment. So there is an additional coverage for loss of limb or an accidental death. It increases the policy value.
And every employee has that. Every full-time employee has
basic
a
life.
$10,000 life accidental death and dismemberment, although at the sheriff's office, they have an additional $10,000.
LTD?
That's long-term disability and then short-term disability. And the short-term disability is covered, it's self-funded, so they're administering it, but the county is paying the short-term benefits. And then long-term is fully insured. So if those members choose to pick up long-term disability and there was a claim, that would fall on the insurance company, not on the county.
Except that the sheriff's office has county-paid long-term disability.
Dottie, I forget, does the sheriff's office also have their own, you said $10,000 additional life insurance? Is that through their own policy?
Oh, that's
That's
through
through
here.
this, yes, that's through
Yes,
the standard.
so they get $20,000.
Yes,
Yeah, there's 3 classes.
through the line of duty benefit. Yes, yes. So then the other thing, like the standard, are you really struggling with the standard? Really struggling?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Bad.
Badly.
They're having issues on the billing side, on the service side.
We've been with them
gotten-
how
I've
long,
gotten-
and they still don't have our billing correct. They
I've gotten
either
out of
say we owe thousands of dollars that we've already sent them, they can't get applied to the right plan. Lots. The number of hours that my payroll person has put in to track all this and to constantly email and ask why is unreal.
I think we need to get self-billing.
We're lucky she's a patient person.
Yes, yes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fixed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, and then they also take forever to maybe get an answer back to us.
Yeah.
So like, I've been asking them, can I have a follow-up for about 3 weeks now, and nobody responds.
It usually takes me, well.
And I've started including Lauren in those emails.
Whatever you have to do.
Because like, well, they're not just responding to me and Dottie, so
Yeah.
who else can I add?
Please copy me on everything. I'm more than fine with that.
Okay.
Happy to escalate anytime. Right.
The other thing, so the surest, I did some inquiries. I think the surest and United Healthcare they're very surprised that your cost is what your cost is, that you're as costly as you are, because they say most groups running with the surest are running better than United Healthcare. So it's an anomaly to them as well as us. And I also look at this thing this clinical report. There are so many more high-cost claimants on this report that is, when I say high-cost claimants, over $10,000 in a given month. There's so many more on this report than I see on even larger county clients of mine than you. I don't see nearly this many high-cost claimants. So very high-cost claimants, and it's an anomaly for the surest, but we need to shop it. I would say yes and yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
agree.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just a guess, but yes and yes. Then the other thing, so Dottie sent something to us about diabetes program, right? And I don't have an answer yet as to if that'll work with the surest. But there are so many of our clients that we are able to find a program that makes dialysis so much less expensive, or surgery centers that are, maybe 150, 160% of Medicare that we can't incorporate with this plan. But there are so many things where we can be creative and find programs that will save not only the county money, but members' money, because these programs are out there if you can attach them to your plan.
California versus the Optum Pharmacy where I used to
Mm-hmm.
go. And I generally call with the supplies where I had copay with the.
Yep. Yeah.
I wondered how many,
Off track again.
Me? It's not hard to do. I was at a dance competition for like 40 hours this weekend, so my brain is fried. All right, on to the multi-year strategy recommendations. So we already discussed, we would like to see a TPA RFP, so that third-party administrator, which is Surest, and a discount analysis with some of the different networks. Then looking at implementing a transparent pharmacy benefit manager, so we're getting those pass-through rebates. Right now with Optum, we don't really know what's going on because the contract is not transparent. And then, of course, we can evaluate plan designs, so we can look at what will make the most sense for your employees if we do move away from Surest, if we're looking at a PPO or an HSA plan. Taking ancillary out from both the rates coming off of guarantee and also the service issues that your team has been having. And then continuing with the wellness program, we're going to see that premium incentive next year, so hopefully employees are getting their primary care taken care of this year. Looking at the next plan year, potentially looking at high deductible plans, maybe specialty pharmacy edits, so things like that can be carving out pharmacy or specialty altogether, looking at the patient assistance programs, health coaching, really anything we can do to control those costs and have employees getting their preventive care and taking care of their health. The next page is the strategy timeline. So this is the time of year where it's go, go, go. I have the census from Dottie and Morgan, a couple pieces to clean up on the ancillary side, but medical, I would like to get that out today. So that'll be what I do when I get back. Then we've got the renewals coming in April. So May is when we'll be meeting for our renewal strategy meeting and making those decisions, implementing and going through open enrollment in the June timeframe. And then do we want to take a moment to walk through the financials? And I won't go line by line, but kind of give you a little bit of an overview of what'll be coming monthly. Back behind the Exhibit A tab. The first page that has the data is your year-to-date financial summary. So this really rolls it all up pretty nicely. You can see your claim spend total, and this will not match the executive financial summary because there's an additional month in claims that I got last week that I put in so we have more relevant data. But as far as percentage of expected, we're currently at 129%. Your maximum liability is 125% of expected. So if we continue to trend over that 125%, we'll see an aggregate reimbursement at the end of the year to the plan. Performance to budget, which we are budgeting to maximum, which is 125%, so we are 2% over that max liability right now. So over budget about $48,000. So we just got everything loaded into Springbuck fully, and those are coming out now monthly. So usually I bring them to meetings, but then I send them out monthly as well. So I can make sure that you're included on that. Okay, yeah, let me make a note.
You say aggregate, you mean that we have to pay extra at the end of the year?
So yeah, throughout the year, if all claim spend goes over that expected amount, then if you go over 125% of expected claims, anything over that comes back to you in a reimbursement at the end of the year.
So if you hit your maximum claims liability, which is what I think you're asking, anything over that, the stop loss carrier will reimburse you anything over that. So you could have money coming back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's all settled.
We're not paying the extra 4%.
No.
It's, okay. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, you're fronting it.
Oh, front.
Yeah, you're essentially fronting it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all evaluated at the end of the plan year after all the claims have come in, yeah. All The next page is a month-by-month breakdown. So it starts at the beginning of the plan year, which is July 1st. And you can see each month you have your employee enrollment. So you can see how that fluctuates month to month, as well as the averages are all on the right-hand side. And then we have our costs monthly. So we've got our medical claims costs and then our pharmacy. Any pharmacy rebates, which you get quarterly. So I am going to check on if we've gotten any rebates year-to-date, because right now it's showing 0, so I'll check on that. And then it shows us stop-loss reimbursement-wise, and these are all specific stop-loss reimbursements. So each member on the plan has that specific coverage amount. I believe it's 70. Is it 75? No, you're fine. It's 125,000. So any individual member who goes over that $125,000 mark, you get the reimbursements back on those members as well. So as soon as one person hits 125,000, they're done paying and stop loss is reimbursing the plan. So that's what those reimbursements are. And you can see each month. Usually you don't have any the first few months because people are, accumulating those claims costs. Unless somebody has a really large claim in the beginning of the year, you start to see those pick up in the second half of the year. Then we net out the reimbursements to see what is actually paid at the end of the day monthly. You can see what expected is. And then the attachment point, so that's that 125% of expected. You can see what you ran, percentage of expected each month, and then percentage of maximum. Fixed cost is only going to fluctuate based on enrollment. So that cost has already been established at the beginning of the year for admin and specific and aggregate stop loss costs. So you can see that only fluctuating slightly based on enrollment. And then you can see your budget, which is maximum, and how you're running to budget on the bottom. So you can see each month if you went over maximum or if you're at or under.
Let me go back, because you two are new, and I'm like, I know your head could possibly be spinning with this, because sometimes mine does. But, so you have two different kinds of reinsurance or stop loss. Stop loss and reinsurance are synonymous. Specific reinsurance means for each individual, yours, or I should say the county's responsibility is capped at $125,000 per individual. So you're on the hook for $125,000. It's like a car insurance deductible. After you pay that $125,000 deductible, then the reinsurance carrier is on the hook for the remainder. Then there is aggregate reinsurance. So aggregate reinsurance or stop loss means that when you hit a cap, a maximum liability as a whole, after you reach that amount, the stop loss carrier will reimburse you the remainder of that, the remainder of the aggregate, okay? So there's something else I was going to say on that, the aggregate, it caps
The maximum,
Yeah, there's something
$1
else.
million.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay. Yes, percentage of
Oh,
expected.
that's what, okay, so, yeah, so stop loss carriers, they come up with what they think is your expected claims amount, okay? They give you a quote and they say, this is where we think your claims are gonna come in, right? And then they add a 25% corridor, add 25% to that, and they say, after you hit that 25% more than we think you're gonna be, then we pay. So they wanna be pretty accurate on the expected, and then 25% more than that. If they were off by 25%, they're on the hook for that. So
if there was a county that wasn't as high claimant as we are, and they expected them to hit like 75%, then theirs would be 100%. They would add the 25 to the 75.
So the 100% is just what they expect for your group. So they would have a lower number, but it would still be 100%. And then their corridor would still be the, yeah.
Say
I
it's
get it.
150, for Noble it's 50.
Yeah.
Once they hit 50, it's.
Yeah. So, and the higher your deductible is, the lower your premiums are, right? But the more risk you are taking on with the stop loss, right? So if you lower your deductible to $50 or $50,000 per person, your premiums are going to be that much higher because the insurance company takes on more risk. So I'll say this too, aggregate hits, which you are looking like you are going to hit your maximum liability. Aggregate hits in this business are very rare. I'm guessing, I forget the term, but I think it's maybe 7%, 6%, 5% of the time an employer or a county will say is an aggregate hit. It hits the maximum liability. So a lot of things have to happen with this. Stop loss carriers have to guess wrong. Your cost is a lot higher than they predict it to be, or you have a lot more high cost claimants than they predicted you would have too. And so it's a lot of things have to happen before you get to this point.
The next page is the large claimant page, and this is a really good illustration of the specific stop loss piece. So you can see that at the end of January, you have 3 individuals who have exceeded that $125,000 in individual spend. So you can see net plan spend, you can see your total paid per member, and it's high to low. So then you can see what the net spend is. That's going to be $125,000 at most this year. And then you can see what the reimbursements have been per member. So that top member has $46,000 reimbursed. Then you've got $37,000 and $10,000 for those top 3 claimants.
We get reimbursed at the end of the year?
No, those are, those individual members are getting reimbursed right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to float that
Yes.
much money ahead of time, okay.
They do advance funding so that you're not having to front that, because those can get really expensive.
So number 2 and 3, are those ongoing?
So the clinical report that we looked at is page 5. I do have those matching. Our clinical team updated this for me. So those top 3 are the top 3 on the clinical report. So we've got, those are medium, low, medium as far as what we're monitoring. So the low should be done. That second large claimant should be done. We're going to continue to monitor them, but that we don't expect ongoing spend there. But the abdominal aortic aneurysm and the spinal stenosis, we are continuing to monitor those, and we'll keep you updated as the plan year goes on as far as what we expect and spend. When we're negotiating your stop loss contract, I get my clinical team involved so that when they are looking at those large claimants, they're looking at expected as the same of what we're expecting, so we don't let them overinflate that number. They were. The top 3 were all spouses as far as year to date, yep. But then you go down to almost entirely employees from that point down. There's one other spouse. And then on the next page, there's a heat map of the top 25 claimants. So you can see where that large spend is being incurred. So if we see really heavy towards the beginning of the plan year and then it gets lighter, we can see that the spend is leveling out or trending down. But then you can see, like, for example, on the employee that has the darker blue for January, that's a new ongoing, or a new high claimant. So you can see where those are kind of jumping in. The last page is a historical PEPM, so per employee per month. And this is really the one that tells the story of the increasing claims spends for the county. So for this one was a little confusing, the way that it shows it's trending down. Your costs aren't trending down, but the amount that it's increasing per year is getting smaller. So from 21 to 22 was a 40% increase. Then that's the year that we came in for the 2023 plan year. That was 25% over the current, or over 22, and then 24 was 16% over 23. Behind Exhibit B, there's just one more illustration, which is showing your trend from the previous 12 months and the current year 12 months. So this is looking at the full year picture on a rolling basis, which happens to be the calendar year. So when we're looking at current rolling 12, that's January through December of '24, and previous rolling 12 is the 2023 calendar year. You can see your enrollment's up 4%, but your medical claim spend is up 49%. Pharmacy's up 38%. So net claims, taking out those reimbursements, you're still at a 43% increase on a rolling basis, rolling 12 basis.
So the bottom line is that we cannot keep operating at the rate we're going. We cannot.
No.
Yeah. So we need to look at cost containment strategies. Absolutely.
The little per employee per month year
Yes.
percent, okay. So is that, on page 5, is that the 19% for this year into next year? Is that
Which page are you
that
looking
piece
at?
of it? So on this one?
Oh, yeah.
Is this percent on this page fall into?
No, I think the percentage that you were just pointing to was the, was that the loss ratio? Was that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just showing what you paid stop loss in premium versus what they're reimbursing.
So is there anything on this page that?
No, this
relates
page
to
does
that?
not show
Okay.
stop loss premium. This is just showing, we've got your per employee per month on claim spend. And then when we look at your net claim spend plus your fixed costs is what you have your total paid per employee per month.
Okay.
Are we in agreement on this marketing strategy to really bring several options to the table for the renewal? Yeah. Okay. Anything else that you would like to know about, hear about?
How soon will you be?
So we will take this out to market right away. We usually get your renewal. I looked and we're going to get that in the April timeframe. So once we have your renewal is when we can really get in and negotiate. So I expect to see that in early May, some results to be able to bring back to the table.
Anything else? I think we're concluded.
Okay.
Thanks for the lunch.
Of course, not for the presentation. That's okay, that's fair.
And all the good news. We'll keep at it, we'll work at it, see what we come up with.
Exactly.
It's just, we just caught in this time period of extended costs and the most, like say, the most expensive network, not only in the state, but possibly the whole country.
Yeah,
And
you're not
we-
wrong. Indiana healthcare costs are highest in the country.
And I'm afraid, I hate to say it, we've got too many employees aren't taking healthcare seriously enough, to be honest, and what it's costing, and, you know, they need to, what do I say?
Let
Try
me
to
just,
be a little more healthy, and try to eat a little better and drink a little.
let me give you one more, like, this is so frustrating for us, for me, and you're paying for it, so I know it's frustrating for you too. So in a 5-year period, we did a study on our county clients, just our self-funded county clients that have been self-funded for 3 or more years. And, I'm sorry, 5 or more years that have been with us. Their annual renewal for our county clients over a 5-year period, their annual renewal was a minus 1.5% on average. So I'm just telling you that this is such an anomaly for us and for our county clients that we are seeing reductions in costs over that time period. Now, you know, some of them have 5, 6, 7% increases, but this is just, it's not a good thing. And I think there's so much we can do to change this.
Okay. Anything else, anyone, before we adjourn? Okay, going once,